Welcome to the Chaos Agents. My name is Thomas, not to be confused with your regular Thomas. These are the Chaos Agents. You know them well. I don't have to introduce them. They don't have to introduce themselves. And we are doing something very special this evening. While the regular Thomas is busy at work, myself, the other Thomas, the Call of Cthulhu Thomas, is sneaking in here. And I'm throwing a Cthulhu game for these guys, which is a little homebrew I made up, which is set in the future. We got Cthulhu in Space. So we have all the players in front of you have made new characters specifically for this story. And it will have absolutely no tie-in whatsoever to the regular story unless we happen to think of something cool and we just... Who knows? Maybe we'll do something cool.
This is a fever dream right now.
It might be. It could be. If Thomas, the other Thomas, likes it, it's up to him.
Look at me.
Work it in any way he wants to.
Look at me. You're the Thomas now.
I'm the Thomas. For the next 3 hours, I'm the Thomas. I got this thing. So for you guys who are all D&D fans, much love, much appreciation, great game. This is more my speed. I hope you'll enjoy this game because Call of Cthulhu is different from D&D in a lot of little ways. And also those of us that run this game, we're kind of go light on the rules anyway. But here's what you need to know for the audience. Instead of rolling D20 for most everything, we're going to be doing percentile dice. It's a chance between 1 and 100. Everything we roll is difficulty based on the character's skills. Now, they got skills in all sorts of different things. And so if they have to, say, fire a weapon, each of the characters has a particular number they need to meet. If they meet that number or get underneath it, they're successful. If they go higher than that number, they fail. And if they get to the really bad numbers, like 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, the high end of the spectrum, I get to do something fun. It's a critical failure. Also on the bottom end, if they happen to roll a 0, 1, that's critical success. And there's also some minor skills in there we can work with. We got our hard successes, critical successes. We won't worry too much about it. If they let me know they rolled a really low number, we'll figure it out. It'll be an even cooler success, basically. So almost everything we do is just percentile dice. We have a couple of mechanics we track. We still have hit points in this game, like most other role-playing games, except they've got a lot less hit points. In the neighborhood of like 10 hit points. It's like first level character kind of hit points for these guys. We're
going to die is what's going to happen.
They're all humans, like first level characters. They have no occult knowledge. They've got no idea what they're dealing with. They're just regular people in the future who happen to stumble upon stuff that's cosmically horrible and stuff they should not be messing with. Additionally, they also keep track of 2 other important stats, one of which is called sanity. Every character has a measure of sanity. Now, they're not going to lose all their sanity, hopefully, in the course of one story. It's very unlikely. But if they happen to lose too much sanity in the course of the story, there's ill effects that will happen to them. Mental breakdowns, problems, delusions, whatever can happen to them. They also have one more mechanic that's important for each of them to track. That's their luck. They all have a number for luck. For instance, say it's 70. If they happen to need to be lucky, they can roll their luck, right? If they get 70 or lower success. But luck is, it serves in this game as a special mechanic for fixing bad stuff. You can spend your luck. If you really need to succeed in a roll and you miss it by like, say, five numbers on a percentile die, you can spend 5 luck. And that luck is gone forever, but you're now successful. So as the course of the story goes, because we're in a one-shot scenario, I would not be surprised if our heroes will spend their luck to stay alive. However, we still have inspiration. They're going to still need inspiration. So if you happen to feel generous towards them and want to keep their characters alive for the next 3 hours, or as Quest and Chaos does, we can sometimes drag this thing on a bit. We're shooting for a one-shot, who knows? But if you want to keep them to stay alive, inspiration would be greatly appreciated. And if
Tiana's tracking that, right?
Yeah, and someone is tracking that. I think Aaron will be tracking that, right?
Yeah, I think Warren's got it too, right?
Yeah, Warren's got it.
She's got it too.
The Hef is tracking that.
We all got it.
We got it. We got it covered. And if you happen to not want them to survive, I'll take your inspiration. And I'll make sure that I roll some pretty bad numbers. So that's an option.
While Nord Games is an amazing partner, we are not going to be using Nord Games Luck Deck because this is not a D20 system, as he said. But we, still love them.
Yeah. So we still love Nord Games. We still love Gordon Biersch, although With the quarantine, maybe Amy and Thomas have got all the Gordon beers. I've seen no Gordon beers in like 4 months now, and I'm getting a little antsy about that.
Going through your beer withdrawals.
I'm drinking homemade lemonade though. That's my drink of choice this evening is homemade lemonade. So we love them. We also love our Birds of Paradise. I've got some set aside, so if I happen to roll bad, I'm gonna switch to the Birds of Paradise to improve my numbers.
Oh, I've got lots of Birds of Paradise going on over here. I've got that on lockdown.
Excellent. So with all that said, I got a couple more things to cover before we get into our story. We always like to talk about the schedule. Our schedule this week. Tonight we're doing Chaos Agents, just a little different. Correct. This Saturday, I've been told we're doing real Cthulhu, whatever that means. That's Ezra's version of Cthulhu, where we've been doing the Mask of Nyarlathotep for about 17 years. And we'll be doing another chapter of that again on Saturday. And who knows what the hell is happening with those of us who are in that story. But coming back on Monday, Aaron is still doing the Rick and Morty. And that's been crazy.
Right.
Crazy.
It's Rick and Morty one shot.
And it's a one shot that's been on 4 weeks. Is it 4 weeks now?
Yeah. We thought it was 2, and it just keeps growing. It's just it won't die. Like
You keep leveling us so fast. We can't die.
So that's our schedule. Monday's Rick and Morty. Tuesday will be Chaos Agents. If we finish this story, I think Thomas will have to come back. If we don't, then Thomas will be here. Either way, we'll get Thomas. So that's what we'll be doing Tuesdays. Saturdays, of course, Cthulhu. If we get raided, somebody will let me know. And then we'll have a big party. We'll have confetti and prizes and show tunes and lights will flash. And it'll be amazing. So maybe that'll happen. If not, sit tight. Enjoy this story. I call this story ARK 105. It's the name of our colony ship. So before we get into the story, I have I'll give you the setup, and then we'll just characters one at a time. So our setup is this.
Well, before we do that, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do want to spread the love with some of the bits that we're getting, just to kind of notate it. Tamagotora, 500 bits to the players. I assume to the players. I'm going to just say to the players unless told otherwise.
That's the rule.
The rule.
That's the rule.
That is the rule.
Specified goes to the players.
The legendary Duke Fleeg with 1,000 bits, 2 for the players for the Spaceballs, and then the Lonely Yeti showing 1,000 bits for love for the players. Thank you guys all so much. We really appreciate it. And these bits, I think, count for full rerolls, huh?
We're going to be doing it full rerolls. 500 gets a full reroll.
Heck yeah.
Only one time, obviously. You can't reroll a fumble, just to let you know. If you happen to roll those horrible numbers, it's stuck. But otherwise, you can reroll, spend your luck. And we have a push mechanic. If we get to it, I'll talk to you about the push mechanic.
What if I'm a halfling? Do I get to reroll?
How many bits do you guys have at this point for accounting purposes?
5.
5. All right. If someone happens to give me some, it's cool. Otherwise, I'll just fudge my rolls and I'll make sure.
Wait a second. Tamagotora, I need you to be very clear. I only saw 500 bits come through. But you say 1 to the players and 1 to Thomas. So on your word, I will say that, Thomas, you also get 1 bit, 1 inspiration. 500. I came to the chat a little late, so I didn't catch the first 500. If
we get some more, someone can just interrupt me like it's Iron Chef and you're one of the silent reporters. That's cool. Okay. Our story takes place in a futuristic world of near the turn of the century. So we're getting close to the 21st century is where we are. We're on planet Earth. In our world, humans are starting to leave the solar system. We're not faster than light. We're not even close to light speed. So that's a problem, but we've sent out probes, found some habitable planets within a reasonable distance, like 30, 40 light years kind of thing. And humanity is starting to send out these colony ships. Now, the state of the solar system is we've got a couple bases on Mars. We got a large space station and a couple of other satellite stations for construction purposes. We got a settlement on Mars, the Moon, and Europa. You guys are going to be passengers when we start our story in a bit on a colony ship, a 105, which is the 5th ship in the series. The news has said that the first 3 made it successfully. One of which is, they don't know where it is, but it's somewhere out there. Actually, I'll take that back. 2 made it successfully. 1 is reportedly still on its way. It's going to be another 15 years before it arrives. Another one is who knows what happened to it. But this.
Sorry, this is out of 105 of these.
So there's the years of 5.
Oh, 10. Okay, got it. The 5th.
101 was the first.
Got it.
2, 3,
Okay.
4, 5. So we're on the 5th colony ship.
Two made it. 1 is like 15 years away. The 4th is just lost with no beacon, and then we're the 5th.
They lost contact. Who knows where it is? It's somewhere outside the solar system. Good luck. Maybe they'll make it. That sucks for them, but
very much humanity.
science goes on.
Yeah.
They'll get there.
It's a world organization putting these colony missions together. They're putting a lot of people on these ships. And we're going to start our story out in the city of San Francisco, all right, with Dr. Stanley Torrance. The setting for our very first scene is going to be an office about the 11th, 12th floor of a large building. Corner office, windows there. The windows have been tinted out so you don't see the Golden Gate or any of the bay. Sheila's very careful. She doesn't want you to see the bridges. She has a forced scene that she puts up. And Sheila's your therapist, Dr. Stanley Torrance. So if you would, Dr. Torrance, you're sitting on the couch. If you describe to the characters in the audience what your character looks like, we'll start our first scene.
Yeah, Dr. Torrance is about 5'10". He's got brown hair, but with hazel eyes. His hair usually is looking a little better. It's a little disheveled, but you can see that he did have a nice trim recently. It's just not very well put together. He's got some glasses on as well. Dressed in a vest, no tie, but a collared shirt, and some slacks with some nice like Italian leather shoes on. Kind of just looking down, not really looking up at the therapist right now.
So Sheila kind of just takes her glasses off and she cleans them for no reason whatsoever and puts them back on. She has her tablet and her stylus there. And there's an uncomfortable pause where she's looking at Dr. Stanley like she's waiting for something before she continues. She says, I really don't think this is the best move for you right now, doctor. Just my opinion. I know you've made your decision. I've been told that I'm supposed to pass you for this exam. And I'll do that. We've been working together for quite some time. I know what you've been through. But I just need to understand, why did you decide to do this?
I don't have anything really for me here anymore. You know, I don't want to be here.
Did they cut your hours at the hospital again?
Well, I'm no good with my hands when I'm here. You know, they won't let me work if I can't do it right. You know, I'm working on people, so I understand. I wouldn't want me there either.
But doctor, are you the best person to be going on this mission? If that's the case, I mean, they're going to need you out there.
And they'll have me, but at least I'll be away from here, away from San Francisco, away from the world as I know it. The other option, you know, we've discussed that. I need to leave one way or another.
But we discussed, I mean, you could always move to the East Coast. You've got family over there. You're very, professionally, you've got a wonderful background. There's a lot of people that respect and admire your work. I just concerned that this seems like a rash decision.
It's the only one I have left. I'm sorry. I can't do this on Earth anymore. I need to leave.
Well, you know, I won't be able to give you those prescriptions anymore. You'll have to deal with that yourself.
I can handle it.
Well, can you tell me at least, if you have the dreams again, how are you going to deal with them this time when you're all alone?
I will, of course, employ the techniques that we've been working on, and make sure that I'm grounded and that there's people around, of course.
You can still journal. You have that there. It's there. It's a great tool for you. It'll be very helpful if you need to write a thing down. Of course, you'll be on your own, Doctor. Are you comfortable with being on your own?
I've been on my own for a while now, so.
I understand. She reluctantly signs a slip that basically gives her consent, to have you go on the mission. She passes you. You finish up the session talking about some dreams and some memories and whatnot, but we're going to fade out of that part and transition over to one of our other characters in the group. It's going to be Chester Lorimer. Where does he live? Where would his apartment be in the world?
Chess Lorimer's apartment, Chester, would be in the Sunset, because he does spend a lot of his time combing the beach and just kind of like passively looking at patterns, either migration of people or kind of shoreline activities, and just he goes to the beach and just kind of like stares at the behavior of animals and people, less taken by the water, the sounds, the serenity of it all.
Now, for Chess, it's 2 minutes until his interview is supposed to start. He's at his place. It's going to be online like everything else is these days. But what's he doing with 2 minutes to spare?
He is watching a talk from one of his old professors who has passed away. And one of his older professors was hypothesizing about cultural relics on alien planets and why the need for this research is important.
All right. And how is he dressed?
From the top up, he is wearing a smart blazer with his smartest shirt. But below the waistline, he's in his boxers. He's got his bookshelf like well within view behind him. This is someone who really wants this role. So he spent a lot of time shuffling his backdrop in order. And a lot of the books in place are books written by his professor, his former advisor.
So does he log on early or right on time?
He's kind of absent-minded, but he logs on like right on time.
Very good. So as you log on, of course, the screen in front of you displays a small window of yourself, a large window of this interview panel. Who knows where they are? In some convention conference room or something. There's a background of a space exhibit behind them. There's 3 people there kind of milling about, looking at their tablets. They're bureaucrats. You don't know any of these people. You've read up on many of the people in the organization, and you don't know any of these people. They don't look very like anyone you've heard of. But finally, at some point, the 3 of them kind of settle in. The woman in the middle takes a look at her tablet and says, "Okay, so we have today Chester. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Lorimer. Is that correct?"
That is accurate. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, I see that you are one of the 4 xenobiologists and archaeologists who have applied for our program. We're only sending 1, but we've narrowed it down to you and 3 other candidates. I want to congratulate you on being one of the 4 finalists for this program. The panel and I have to make the unenviable decision to pick just one of you. We've got your resumes here, and of course, you have a great resume. All the candidates do. We wanted to find out something beyond the resume, something beyond what's written down. Why should we pick you for this program?
Well, to be quite honest, I was surprised to hear that you had a total of 4 candidates, because I am the only xenobiologist in this unvetted field. because my advisor was the only one to pass me through his program. I'm sure you're familiar with Dr. Kenneth Hill, but anybody else who I would consider a colleague has long since abandoned this academic field, given our lack of luck in finding something useful. They think it's basically fringe science at this point, but the discoveries that I've helped my advisor uncover lead us to believe that if we can track down these behavioral patterns in at least one other species somewhere else, it would give us a really good indication of our origins and how we came to be. And everyone is, someone is a specialist in the pygmies of Papua New Guinea or the Viking women of the early colonial era. But no one no one has ever dared to hypothesize or study exopolitics. And that is something that I'm very proud of. So this is a passion project for me, as much as something I would have the benefit of being paid to do.
So one of the fellows on the panel, the guy to the right of her, says, are you indicating you've studied exopolitics when we haven't even discovered any kind of life outside of our solar system?
We have to plan for the inevitable, and I consider myself prepared. You would call it paranoia until it happens. And if that were the case, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So with all due respect, yes.
I understand, says the other woman in the panel. There's several other good candidates from other places in the world, not just the United States. And we're really well represented from the United States. There's a Mr. Thorncastle on our list here that seems very well qualified. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He's had several different papers on the subject. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, if you've read Mr. Thorncastle's writing, then you've probably read my peer-reviewed critique of his work. And it is silly. It belongs in an opinion National Enquirer newspaper and not in any scholarly journal. If you want people out there making guesses with your money, then please, by all means, pick him. But if you want informed, theoretical, rational decisions, I'm the only person, without even seeing the field, that you should probably select. And I don't mean that to be boisterous or cocky in any way. I mean that to say that your best chance for a successful mission is right with me.
Well, thank you, Mr. Lorimer. Your other credentials are outstanding. Your biologicals and medical reports there's no problems with you physically. We are very happy to interview you and meet you, and we wish you the best of luck in this possible assignment.
Thank you. I look forward to hearing back from you. I honestly do. But if this doesn't work, I would assume to move forward with another expedition.
Well, that's true. We do have a ship under construction, and we have a launch date set for 5.5 years from now. So if it turns out that you're still available and your health is still in excellent condition, we will, of course, consider you for the next mission. So the screen goes blank. There's a logo on the screen or whatnot. And, before we cut to, I think we have a couple more bits to announce.
Oh, snap. Did bits come through?
I saw one from Squeal the Bar.
Squeal the Bar at 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
To Thomas, to Togas, to destroy their minds and haunt their souls.
I definitely
makes
will.
Sense.
and I was kind of workshopping this game a little bit with Squeal, just as a side note, so he knows a little bit of the horrors that are unfolding.
Damn it!
He's excited to see if his ideas got stuck in. So we're going to transition now to a location. It's going to be a dirty construction office somewhere where Mr. Macchio. Where are you currently working, John Ralphio Macchio?
Right now, it's it's a really nice firm that just takes on these construction projects for new things wherever they're required. You know, our firm usually gets the toughest projects in the area that most other ones can't do, or they say we'll do it, but we're going to cost you extra. But you know what? We're so good, we can do it at a regular price. And I think I am my name is John Ralphio Macchio, and I've been in the engineering business for around 45 years. Well, I'm 45 years old, and I've been in this business for quite a long time. I'd say at least 20, give or take. You know, who's keeping track? You know.
So right now he's on project because he's always on project. So where is he located as we speak?
He is in his home is in Hell's Kitchen, but right now he's in New York, a more populated area, maybe right off Times Square, I guess.
So he's actually going to be, for our scene, he's in a construction trailer where the office is, where he's managing this particular construction assignment. So what's that trailer look like on the inside?
It looks like it's a trailer. It's got some nice wooden walls, kind of more, they're just like normal wooden. They're not really painted over or anything. With kind of like a shambly little desk. Not just very basic squarish desk, not very important. I, being John Ralphio Macchio, I'm like 6 foot, but the room, there's like a couple file cabinets around. I've got a nice laptop, but that's pretty much it. It's not really like a desktop for me, but it's my place of work.
Well, your place of work is being interrupted this morning by one of the guys you'd least like to see. This guy, Roger Peterson. He's a suit from corporate. Whenever he shows up, you know something's wrong with the project. Whether they're changing vendors, they're scrapping something, there's a problem with the delivery, or they want some deadlines changed and moved up. That's what this guy's job is. He's the guy that gives you bad news. So he walks in a little bit, looks around, kind of stubs his foot, doesn't give you any eye contact for a moment as he waits for you to kind of get that face. So he says, so Mr. Macchio, I've been sent to give you some news from corporate. They decided they need you on the seastead. They need you on the seastead next month.
Okay. The seastead. All right. Well, I haven't really gotten through all my reports yet. I'm going to need a little bit of a preface to the seastead project. There's a lot going on here.
Well, it should be in your email. It's one of the emails maybe you haven't read yet. It's a North Sea project. We're starting it in about 6 weeks. It's going to be 2.5 year time frame. Amazing project. The corporate's very excited about it. But we need you on the seastead. We can't have you doing that little side bit you're doing where you're going to play astronaut.
Okay. All right. First of all, anybody can deal with the seastead. I'm not going to send some new recruit, some new worker I just got into space instead of myself. All right. I think if anybody's going up there and making sure everything is done right, you're sending me. So I'm sorry. The seastead project's going to someone else, but it ain't me.
Well, Mr. Macchio, corporate's very well. Listen, I mean, it's just babysitting a bunch of equipment. You're too good. We need you here, man. We need you here on Earth. We can send some junior person up with all the equipment. They can go play astronaut on some foreign planet and run all the machinery. You're way too important to us. Let's just be honest. We don't need you going on this trip. It's a bad career move for you. I don't know what you're thinking.
I'm thinking that I'm the only one actually qualified to see this to the end, to see that this actually gets done right. And if I'm babysitting equipment on Earth, then it's not going to work. It's not going to be the ideal colony. And who knows? Anyone who goes in space, that on a ship that I'm not on, could lose their lives. Do you want to die in space? Do you want to wish that on someone? Do you want to leave me alone on Earth watching these trinkets while someone dies in space and suffers, eh? I thought not. In fact, you know what? Just give me the equipment and I'll take it with me. I'll watch it and I'll come back. You can consider it vacation time, but I promise you, I'm getting on that ship.
He stumbles over his words and exits your office without any further ado. And we got cut the scene right there. And we want to move to a training facility in South America, which has basically been working for the last 17 years to train astronauts for this program. We're going to cut to Cassiopeia, Cas Vega. And the way it works in this facility and this program is they've essentially created these teams of 4. There's 4 crewmen for every colony ship. And the 4 individuals on the ship are responsible for anything that can go wrong. And they've been trained and trained and trained for all the systems, all the equipment, all the engine, the life support, the arrays, everything. So if something happens on the ship, heaven forbid, something happens, these 4 would deal with it. And Cass is one of the people. She's been doing training now for this particular mission for 11 months. So 11 months in.
They're non-binary, so their pronouns are they, them.
Oh, okay. So Cass has been doing this for 11 months. They have been on it, living on the campus, living, breathing, eating, sleeping this mission with her crewmates, just the 4 of them, every single day, and their free time. So the 4 of them are very close. Cass, if you would first describe your character and then the people that you work with.
Sure. So Cass is a tiny little thing, just under 5 foot tall, slim, wiry, very, very androgynous looking, short cropped, sandy blonde hair and brown eyes, usually in the jumpsuit or the uniform of the training program, and tends to walk around with a bit of a bounce in their step at pretty much all times. And you want me to describe the other 3 in my team as well?
Yes.
Sure. Our senior tech is Eleanor. She's affectionately referred to as mom or boss within the group. She's a very no-nonsense older woman who is, she lives that cliche of, I'm 5 days away from retirement type of thing. But she's been everywhere. She's seen everything, and she is the one who has taken us all under her wing. She stands at about 5'3", 5'4", something like that. Dark brown hair with a little bit of gray shot through, and very much like that no nonsense kind of older woman, probably in her late 40s, early 50s, something like that. And then there's Peter, who's our mechanical engineer. He's 5'11", thereabouts, kind of a gangly fellow. Brown hair, brown eyes, wears glasses. Always tinkering with something going on, really bad at focusing on what the task is at hand, but once you can get him focused, he is just laser focused. I regard him as sort of a weird little brother. And then there's Andromeda, who we all refer to as Andy. She's my best friend. We came up together in this program. Both of us have constellation names, and we bonded over that when we first met. And she's gorgeous and doesn't realize that she is. So everyone kind of fawns on her, and Cass keeps her safe.
As we open up the scene, the 4 are training, which is basically sitting at a desk. There's a hologram going over some schematic details for today. Today's lesson is essentially the magnetic field generator. So they explained to you guys during this lecture, the AI is explaining to you guys, it's been droning on for a while, about how at the front of the ship there's a magnetic field generator, which creates a very large field, almost like a funnel. There's also a collector at the front of the ship. That as the ship moves through space, it's the field as well as the collector will bring in material to use for propulsion, which allows the ship to continue to have propulsion as the ship moves forward, so you don't have to carry all the propulsion on you. But it's an interesting, talks about how it works, the bits of it, the system, the way it spins, it's going on and on and on. And sitting next to you, of course, is your friend, Andy, which Bo will be playing for our scene. And then, of course, directly in front of him is Tinker, who Aaron will be playing for our scene. And then off to the side, of course, Warren will be playing Mom for this scene.
I love you guys.
Of course.
Yeah.
The training module will drone on. I'll be the AI training module. It just is explaining about how the housing works, and these are the bolts you remove. If you want to make this change, you have to go here, wrench it there. It goes and drones on and on and on, and it fades.
Oh my God, Cass, isn't this enough? I mean, we're never gonna have to deal with this ever. Can't we just go hang out or something else? Let's have fun.
We can't. You know that they track us coming in and out the door.
Come on, we're gonna be in space forever, and it's gonna be real boring up there. Let's do something fun here.
Hey, you two. Do you want to be stuck out in space with the aluminum dampener, not focusing on the fuel rod here? All right. I need you to pay attention to what happens to the guiding pin when it's connected to the piston. All right. This isn't a Camaro engine. This is a life support system propelling us through space. You've done it before, but that's how accidents happen.
I've seen these things 50,000 times, Mom. You know that. I grew up with these damn things.
It's the 50,001st time that'll kill all of us. Please, focus.
I'm here to work on air conditioners, not propulsion systems, okay? Let's have fun.
They're interchangeable. I feel like you can actually make it work if you applied yourself to drawing some sort of connection between air conditionings and propulsion. Just say.
Okay, when we go to have fun, we're gonna leave him out of it. Okay.
I mean, obviously, right?
Fun is not often productive.
Central cooling and system ventilation are critical parts of a life support system. Think of it like this. If you didn't have to be here consuming my resources, inhaling our oxygen, I wouldn't have you here, okay? We have to plan everything from the weight of the ship to how much fuel we need to propel it. All right?
You know, you'd have us here anyway because they have to fill out the requisite number of minimum hours and all that fun, happy, crappy bullshit.
We've been over all of this. It's been 11 months.
You can never run enough simulations. The next one could be something that could be world-changing for our information.
Listen to him.
I've run
You
simulations.
act like I'm wrong.
Fun. Like I've seen all of these simulations multiple times, and one more time is not going to change the fact that I know all this shit.
Anybody here want to explain to me what happened to the 4th expedition?
No one knows the 4th expedition, including you.
It is still likely to return.
No one knows what happened. Let's plan and prepare for any contingency. I'm sure when they departed, they thought everything was fine. It might be fine, but it is irregular to not be able to communicate in regular intervals. All right? Focus. Please, AI, continue.
The paint used on the exterior of the magnetic field is important because of it goes about the chemical makeup of the paint and why it's durable and it will last for the journey, which is projected to be more than 60 years. And it continues about the construction of the array. And drones.
I flopped very dramatically on Andy, just pretending to snore.
AI detects sarcasm.
It's not that advanced, Petey.
I just wanted to be offended. If you can understand what that feels like.
Yes, learning about this paint is going to be instrumental. I know it. It's totally going to be.
It diagrams what the paint containers look like and the proper application for using the paint in a zero-G environment, mind you, which is a little more complicated than regular rollers, mind you.
I know how zero-G works. I grew up in it.
That's why you're so stunted. Everyone said it.
That is true.
All right, so we will transition or fade out of our little training scene over here on the moon, and we'll move forward. It's moved forward several months.
I absolutely love that Bo wound up playing Andromeda, who I did absolutely name after Kelly's character.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Because I was the one who picked these names.
Nice.
So the way it works, of course, is for Cassiopeia, their crew, they're doing something special. The rest of you basically showed up about a week before launch. All the colonists a week before launch. They give you basic colony 101. And everything that they taught you is about when you arrive on planet. Now, the planet you're going to is Jalise, 832c in the Jalise star system. It's a red dwarf sun, which is interesting because it's a less light, less illumination than our sun. So the planet is closer in orbit.
I was up, no lie, last night until 2 a.m. watching Kyrgyzstan videos on white dwarfs, red giants, and black dwarfs. And you got the right guy today.
Excellent.
Yeah, you got some research in there, buddy.
Excellent. So what they tell you in this little intro is essentially this planet is probably tidally locked. They're not sure, but all the probes have indicated that it's within the Goldilocks zone. The elements of life and water and other elements necessary in the atmosphere. They believe there's an atmosphere that will move heat around the planet. So even if it is tidally locked, the weather can be, the planet won't be a hellscape to live on. The trip is going to take you guys probably over 60 years to get there. And they haven't talked much about that, other than the fact that they say you're not going to have to worry about it. You're not going to have to worry about the trip. You're not going to be awake for the trip, is what they tell you in Colonist orientation. And they give you some other stuff about your roles, information about what you're going to be doing for your job when you get there, blah, 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 construction, building, whatever. We'll skip all that stuff. We want to move forward. The three of you, I'm going to make sure, has any of the three of you, between John, Stanley, and Chester, ever been off planet?
John has never been.
Yeah, Dr. Stanley Torrance has been doing a number of stints on the moon for that community. Likely did his residency up there, so he's been back and forth between Earth and the moon several times.
Very good.
I have not done that because with mapping and simulations, I can pull the moon to me and all these other exoplanets. So he's basically been not sheltered, but just kind of in his study, in his corner of the world. And in his corner of the world, he brings information to him. So this is his first time.
And Cassiopeia, what's your experience off planet?
So my parents run a shipyard, basically. So I've been. They wouldn't let me be out in space very much when I was a child, because there was something about, bones and organs need to develop properly on Earth in order to not have any weird things happen. But as soon as I hit puberty, I was on their ship as often as I could be. So I have been all over the moon, in and out of the area, as much time spent on the ship as I have on Earth at this point.
So John, Stanley, and Chess, amongst other colonists, you guys are taking the project on a shuttle, and it's one of those shuttles that essentially takes off like an airplane, and then eventually lifts up into the outer atmosphere, and then you will arrive at a very massive space station, which is orbiting the Earth. On this space station, it's a large circular space station with spin gravity and whatnot set up. There's a kind of a construction yard nearby where there's basically a large ship, which I'll describe in a second, and another one being built kind of beside it. At the other end of it, they've taken an asteroid, a smaller asteroid, and basically kind of attached it to the space station to use it for parts. So they're mining this asteroid in orbit to get construction materials to build everything, so they don't have to ferry as much stuff up and down. There's also the moon construction as well, but it's a slow process. It takes a long time to build these ships in orbit. The station itself is massive. And the trip is amazing. So for those of you, other than Dr. Stanley, this is your first time leaving planet Earth, and it's an amazing, life-changing experience to see that your planet below you, a massive blue marble with the, despite the problems and the pollution and the rising tides and all the issues of planet Earth, from out here in orbit, there's a peacefulness, there's a beauty, there's a majesty. That's almost a little bit makes you regret slightly, because part of you realizes you may not be seeing this planet ever again. Most likely, you'll never be seeing this planet ever again. Your trip is a one-way trip. That's what you signed up for. That you're going to go to a new colony. When you get there, your ship is being taken apart, and it will be used for parts to build the new colony. Nothing is staying in orbit. Everything is being brought down. And so this is it. In any case, your shuttle docks with the space station. You guys are gridded and oriented and brought into the spin gravity. It's an awkward process. It is not a resort. There are some space station resorts, and there's like a lunar vacations you can do. This isn't that. This is all very utilitarian. There's not a lot of windows. Everything is exposed wiring and duct work, so for easy repair. But they lead you guys in shifts to different locations. Eventually, the three of you, so John, Stanley, and Chester are all led into a room. And then Cassiopeia is also led into the same room. So it's a room that's a simple room. There's a single window. Outside that window, you have a view of the construction area, and you can see the ship. You can see the colony ship. It's ARK 105. The way the ship works, as far as looking at it from head to stern, at the head of the ship is a dome, but that dome is mostly obscured by like an upside down umbrella or like a giant satellite dish, which the whole front of the ship is like this giant satellite collector at the front, or surrounds this dome. There's a long circular shaft, which is the center of the ship. At the back, there's a massive set of engines, and also attached to the engines, they put several fuel booster engines to the back of it, which are going to be ejected when you guys take off. So for takeoff, there's a whole bunch of extra fuel to get you going. The ship itself has 4 circular rings surrounding it. There's one large one, which is labeled on the diagrams you guys have been shown. They label it habitation. It's a habitation level. That's what they call it. There's 3 other levels, which are the colony levels. Those 3 circles. There's actually colony, habitation, colony is the order from front to back. And then near the engine, there's a whole bunch of other, looks like boxes that have been just tacked on, like stacks and stacks of these shipping crates near the rear of the ship, which is a lot of other extraneous heavy cargo stored near the back. There is a cockpit located somewhere in the middle, but it's kind of obscured and not really obvious where it is. There's also communications array and some towers and solar and whatnot near the front, but those are diminutive when you look at the massive shape form of this ship. It's not spinning, it's not moving. It's sitting there in dock, and it dwarfs the construction dock and even the space station itself. It's currently pointed at the sun, like towards our sun, the direction it's pointed right now. So as you guys are looking at it, Cassiopeia comes in. Maybe they clear their throat or something, but this is a first time that she's met you, and really the 3 of you haven't really had a chance to socialize. Nobody's talked. Nobody's made introductions. It's the 4 of you in a room by yourself. There's no one else here, and you have a moment to yourselves.
Oh.
All right.
Hi, I'm Cass.
Chester.
Pleasure.
Cass.
Dr. Torrance is my name.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, it's good to meet all of you. It's really good.
Oh,
Your
God.
name?
I am instantly struck by the beauty of our planet here.
Isn't it gorgeous?
It is. In a few hours, if we stay here, we'll get to see a completely different side of it. But on the planet that we're going to, the rotation never happens. It's tidally locked. It's in the habitable zone of a red dwarf, which means one side of the planet is a sweltering hellscape, and the other side is permafrost. But right in the center, where the two meet, is probably where we'll be living, unless, of course, the ocean tides are currying the temperate energy back and forth, making it. I'm sorry, I rant. When
Is there
I
any
am
alcohol
nervous.
on board, Cass?
No, not really. I mean, everyone's going to be, yeah. No, there's not alcohol as far as I'm aware.
Are you
No one-
serious?
No one has eaten since being on planet Earth, by the way. There's been no meals, no food or anything as well.
I don't know
use a
about
drink.
you all, but I haven't eaten, and I'd much prefer to have something in my stomach before I partake in spirits.
Or anything else of the cannibal nature. Let's just all try and avoid that.
Hold on a minute. Why are you jumping straight to cannibalism?
Did you hear the end of the sentence? Let's all avoid that. I don't want cannibalism, but I'm just saying. Who knows what can happen in space?
This is what public schooling gets you.
Okay. Yeah. This is also what 20 plus years of construction and engineering get you. The skill to help you build an actual colony. And by the way,
I think if we're putting the cart a little bit ahead of the horse here, because if history serves properly, there were a number of expeditions sent to the New World that didn't make it, right? Columbus and his lot were some of the lucky ones. So our chance of actually getting there to starting the New World is
It's pretty good, actually. We're number 5. 2 have already made it. 1 is still in transit. It's only 1 out of the 5 that we're not sure about.
5th time's the charm, I say.
What do you mean?
As far as the numbers go, I mean, if we're using the New World numbers, we're way ahead of the original colonists.
Well, that's
See?
because we have 20-year engineers helping us on this expedition, I guess, and we have ancestors to help learn from.
I'm sorry. When did they put us to sleep?
I'm sorry, who is also the ancestor?
Our forefathers, the people who first embarked on the voyage to the New World, which we're doing right now. Did you not hear? Did the analogy just go completely over your head?
Is he the person that puts us to sleep? Because it's working.
Almost on cue, though. There's a guy that comes in. He's dressed up basically like a nurse practitioner. He's got a white outfit. He's got a little tray, a little badge. He's got his name on it. His name is Kevin. Is the guy's name. He comes in, doesn't make eye contact with anybody. He has a tray. He's setting some stuff down. He's getting ready. And Dr. Stanley, you would kind of recognize this typical medical behavior, as you know, you see this many times in hospitals where it's almost like they don't acknowledge the patients until they have to. So when Kevin's done putting his things down, he kind of looks over the 4 of you. I just got to ask you guys a couple of questions before we get this thing going. So, have you had anything to eat or drink in the last 24 hours?
God, no.
Okay, we just got to make sure. Anybody on any kind of medication or feeling any kind of ill effects?
I'm on several medications currently.
Chess looks over to him with a darted look, concerned.
Dr.
Does Viagra count?
Oh,
What?
yeah, that does, but I don't think it's going to be a conflict. So you should be okay. Mr. Machio?
Yeah, Ralphio Macchio.
Mr. Machio, what did you just say?
I said, does Viagra count?
Okay.
And he affirmed me it does not. So thank you, and now we can move on, right? Everybody.
Dr. I've got to note that you're approved. The medications you're taking are approved, so you should be fine.
Good.
I knew it.
And if that lasts longer than 60 years, call me.
Be the first person and only person I will call.
Cass bursts out laughing at that.
And
It
so,
was a slight smug smile.
you guys, the 4 of you are all going to be residents of, let's see, 272. 272. Got okay. I'm supposed to tell you guys, introduce you guys to your tombs. So, if
Tombs.
Yeah, that's what we call them.
How fitting.
So he leads you over to where there's 4 that look like modern sarcophagi, for lack of a better word. It's a bed inside of a metal tube that has got all sorts of equipment and dials and glass and monitoring and whatnot. These we call these the tombs. So each of you are going to be go into sleep, and we'll take it from there. Once we put you to sleep, we're going to slow your heart rate down to nothing, and then we're going to inject some drugs in you, which are kind of like a modern version of formaldehyde, but totally safe. And then we're going to lower your body temperature to just above freezing, so that nothing is damaged. And we're going to keep you in these tombs here until you arrive planetside. So you don't have to worry about the trip. You're not going to experience the trip whatsoever. We're going to load you guys in the tombs onto the ships. And when you arrive at planet, you'll be dropped to the planet. The system will wake you up when you arrive. So it's going to be a seamless journey. It's going to be like you went to sleep and you woke up and you're there. We've been told that there's no dreams, there's no nightmares, there's no really passage of time. You won't have any idea how long it takes, because you're all going to be medically dead, essentially, for the duration of the trip. It's totally safe. We got this worked out. We've done this a couple other times. But this is what you all signed up for. The releases are done. So if you want...
That's all that matters.
If you want to, you guys can, any last words, you want to leave any messages home, if you want to, do whatever ceremonial stuff. Some people, they like to leave a voicemail, they cry a little bit, whatever you want to do. It's not my business. When you're ready, I'm going to get the IVs ready, get the fluids ready, and I'll put each of you in here. Whatever order you guys want. Cool.
So by the end of this, it'll be 60 years have gone by. Is that correct?
He checks his notes. Yeah, we think it should be about 68 years of our time.
68 years. So most people that I know will be dead. All right, I'm first.
And just as a note, you guys are not going to age, or your bodies won't experience time whatsoever while this is going. So when you arrive, it'll be like nothing has happened. Okay, so I'm going to go outside, make a couple of calls, and when you guys are ready, I'll take care of things. He steps out.
So when he steps out, Cass is going to find a little corner of the room and pull out a communicator to leave a last "I love you" to their parents. Nothing like too traumatic. We've been talking about this coming up. I just want to make sure they have a last thing of me.
So who is Cass leaving behind?
Cass has their parents, mom and dad, and an older brother.
Right, and they've talked about it. How does the family feel about this trip?
Their mom is a little bit hesitant about it. She would prefer to have Cass with her and working in the family business. Their dad is all for it. The whole pioneering spirit. Referencing an old book series, he refers to Cass as his little half pint. So they're tentatively excited about it. Their kid is going to go and experience the new world, and the older brother is jealous, but also like, go get him, kid.
So while that's happening, what about Ralphio Macchio? What is he leaving behind on planet Earth?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Most of his loved ones have passed. He didn't have a big family. And they were pretty old on. And they're gone, but he's got his daughter. He's got his daughter and this is who he's trying to make proud. Hopefully when she's an old lady someday, she knows the first colony was made by our old man. And that's who he's leaving behind. And that's who he hopes lives a better life and hears the news of his pop one day, of her pop one day, of her pop one day, whatever she does.
So Chester, who is Chester leaving behind?
Chester leaves behind no one. And in his kind of ranting or concern, this is what you've worked up for, old boy. It's why you have no family. That's why you've opted out of relationships. You knew that this day would come, and it is a one-way trip. All right. I'd hate to die twice, but the person who finds this information essentially will be remembered forever. So in a lot of ways, you're about to become immortal, my friend. And he looks around and he sees everyone, I guess, staring at him talk out loud. I don't have anything really profound to say. The entire time you notice that he's gripping like what looks to be like a weathered encyclopedia, which is odd because books and journals aren't really kept very much anymore. And it's like a manual guide that was left to him of like journal learnings, notes. And yeah, this is all a bit much. But see you on the other side, Ray. No one likes the classics. All right. Well, I want to hop in.
Let's tie things up with Dr. Stanley Torrance. What is he leaving behind?
Let me ask you. Do we have like holo technology? Like if I was to pull up my phone and whatnot, could I?
Yeah.
I just kind of turn my back to the others so they can't see, and I pull out my phone and I hit a photo of two people, my wife and my son when he was 2. And I kind of look at that for a little bit. Give one last kiss to the phone, close it, turn around, wipe a tear from my eye. And to answer your question, he leaves no one behind.
The nurse practitioner comes back in, Kevin comes back in, leads Dr. Stanley over to the first tomb, has him lay down inside of it, begins the process of inserting an IV catheter in his arm. And once that's done medically, they hook the fluids up. It basically puts you in a nice, relaxing, comfortable sleep. And Dr. Stanley falls asleep. And the rest of you see the doctor, of course, he goes to sleep. His vital signs get really relaxed. And they leave him there. And then Kevin looks to the 3 of you and says, all right, well, who's next?
I got you. I don't give a damn. I've said everything I need to say.
All right, so John Ralphio Macchio is led over to his tomb, placed inside, catheter IV inserted, the whole process begins. He's very relaxed, put to sleep, peaceful look on his face. Vitals go way down to a low state. He's asleep. Kevin looks to the 2 of you that are left. Who's next?
I'll go. It will be me. I'll go. Oh man, I wasn't.
Chester's placed in his tomb. And just as a quick note, you guys are all wearing these uniforms they issued you, by the way. Just, you're not wearing regular clothes. You're in your astronaut uniforms. So which is, regular full body, long sleeve, long pants, the whole bit. So as a side note. But Chester's in there, same process, the IV, the drugs put him to sleep very peacefully.
I would say he would try to like fight it as much as he could, but it overtakes him pretty quick. Yeah.
Eventually, his eyes get heavy. He closes, and his mind just shuts down into peaceful, blissful sleep. And then Kevin looks at you, Cass. All right, here's your tomb. Hey, your crew, right?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. It's for safety reasons. We don't put the crew in the same container. If something happened to one of these containers, happened to your container, then the entire crew would be destroyed. If there was, micrometeorite or something, we can't have it. That's why we separated you guys. I'm sure they told you that in your training, right?
Yeah. They mentioned as a safety precaution, just in case.
Hey, listen, if something happens on the ship, I'm sure they talked to you about it. You guys have had a 1 week about the tombs, so this thing could put you back to sleep. You don't need me to do it. You just need somebody there to insert the IV and the catheter and whatnot. Somebody who knows what they're doing.
So if something happens and we get woken up, get Dr. Boy over there to do it?
Oh, no, these 3. No, they're sleeping the whole journey. I'm talking if you and your crew have to wake up.
Yeah.
Just, somebody from the crew has got to put you back to sleep.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. But if it does, I'm sure we'll figure it out. We were picked because we figure shit out. Yeah,
so that's what they told me. So, all right, here you go. Anything else you need from me?
I think that's everything. Thank you. And Cass will hop into their tomb and like scrunch down and roll their sleeve up and hold their arm out.
But he hooks you up. You relax, eyes close, lights go dim, and everyone's asleep. At some point along the journey, Ralph Macchio, John Ralph Macchio, I should say, Dr. Stanley Torrance, and Jess Lorimer. Each of you are slowly, and there's a sense of cold. Their first sense, the first thing you feel is just like you're freezing. You're in the Arctic in your underwear. It's immensely cold and it's dark. You hear noises like fans blowing. Is all you hear, and then somewhere your ear adjusts, and there's a beeping, an irritated beeping that you hear. One of those annoying, like an alarm clock, probably going off. It's dark, but there's some light behind your eyelids. There's a light somewhere. And each of the three of you wakes up to find that you are still attached to the IV. You are still laying in that tomb, as they call it. You hear ship noises, maybe something. There's a sound, constant motion or blowing sound, and that annoying klaxon. And then a light turns on and you open your eyes. The inside of your tomb is essentially a little screen, a display. Your eyes are out of focus. It takes a while before whatever it is, the schmutz in your eyes, you blink it away. The three of you are alerted. There's a printed message on the screen of on the HUD of your tomb saying the words emergency are flashing. And there's a list that says, please wake up, emergency, please wake up, is what's written on your tomb. The three of you hear a mechanical click, and the HUD on your tomb kind of lifts and slides to the side, and it's even colder than it was. So the outside is like, it's like you're in a refrigerator car, is what it feels like. You're shivering voluntarily, but you feel some warmth in your arm where the IV is attached. Like maybe there's drugs being pumped into you, for instance. Dr. Torrance, roll me a medicine roll.
Hey, I can do that.
So D100.
All right, that's a 49.
And what's your medicine skill?
Real good.
71, isn't it?
It is 71.
Doctor, you're aware there's stimulants being pumped into you, like what you guys would give to people that you put in a medical coma, to bring them out of a coma or to bring somebody out in a vegetative state. You can feel the drugs pumping into your adrenaline and whatnot. It's some kind of special cocktail. It's warming you up. Your limbs are starting to loosen up. Your heartbeat increases. You can feel it going. At some point along the way, the HUD over the side, but you hear a voice, mechanical voice, indicating safe to remove IV. Safe to remove IV. It repeats several times.
And I kind of try and sit up and see if I can look around and see what's going on.
Good. All right. So the doctor is the first one to sit up, and your back is sore. Your muscles are tired, sore, stiff. Everything aches. Your whole body is like a popsicle. The room is dark, but for some fluorescent lighting, and it's a slightly curved room. It looks like a storage closet. You see that there are a tomb like yours. To both sides, there's 4 tombs, all lined up in this room. And then around you on the walls are just storage units, like wardrobes, basically all sealed and numbered with number codes. The fluorescents are on. That's actually LEDs. They're illuminating the room. And then that's it. It's kind of quiet, but it's cold here. There's 3 tombs open. Yours, the one to the side of you, which is Macchio's, the one to the other side of you, which is Lorimer's. And they're both starting to stir as well. Everybody's feeling the same effects. The drugs they've given you are waking you up, warming you up, kind of getting you moving. Everyone's starting to stretch. There's still that annoying klaxon, but it's pretty quiet. It's not it's not irritating, but it's there.
Oh my God. What the hell? It's freezing in here.
They're pumping you full of stimulants that should warm you up.
Not fast enough. That's what I say.
Is this the exit protocol? Are we here?
Well, I don't think so. It says there's an emergency. We need to get over to that panel with the blinking lights, right? That's what you're saying, Tom?
Yeah, there's something on the wall.
We need to go see what's going on.
Does anybody know how long it's been?
We just
know
went under, right?
as much as you at this point.
God damn it.
Looking around, can we tell how long it has been disturbed? Anything around us?
So Chester, roll spot hidden, which is one of your skills on your character sheet. If you don't have it,
Yeah.
your base is going to be 20%.
All right. 1D 100.
25% is the base.
25.
All right. I rolled an 87.
What's your spot hidden skill?
My spot hidden skill?
Yeah.
Did you put
50.
Good. So
And
your
then
87 is
so
higher. So
in the main one it's 50, then it says 50, 25, 10, and then 25% next to it.
Got it. So let me explain that just for a second. What we've got is our main skill, which is the big box. That's, I think, for your 50. If you happen to roll 50 or lower, that's a success. If you happen to roll lower than the next box over, which is, I think, the 25 we're talking about, that's
critical success.
hard success?
Hard
and if
success.
you happen to roll lower than the other box, which is the 1/5 the value should be 10, that's an extreme success. So just let me know if you get a really good success as opposed to a regular success.
Okay.
So Warren, did you put a 50 into that spot hidden?
Yes.
So it's actually 75 because you have a 25% already in that base.
Okay.
Yeah. So you add whatever number you put into it to the base. So
Got it. Okay.
87 still doesn't make it, but 75 is real good.
I'll inspire if you
luck at this point or inspiration. All you know is
yeah. Can I inspire that?
You can, but you'll need to at this point. It's an unfamiliar room. You've never seen this place before. You see there's 4 tombs, lots of boxes, but that's all you see. So as Ralph is getting out, John Ralphio Macchio, excuse me, is getting out. Go ahead and roll spot him as well.
Oh my God. All right. Let's crack the old joints. All right. How's everybody else feeling?
It's cold.
Cold.
Yep. Yeah, I'm trying to ignore that. I really wish I had a drink right now, but that's life. What do we do to fix it?
So Aaron, if you could roll spot hidden for me, roll D100, tell me what you get.
Oh, sorry, that cut out right at then. Oh no, that's double zeros, 3?
Is it 0, 3? That's
0,
good.
3?
2 zeros and then the other one is a 3.
That's a great roll. That's an extreme success. Yeah.
I did it.
So here's what you as John is stretching out, there's a 4th tomb in this room that's not open, and there's some light is flashing inside of it, but it has not opened whatsoever.
Okay. I'm getting a good vibe from that door, right?
It's another tomb.
Oh, it's another. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go check that tomb.
You go over the tomb. There's some smears on the inside of the panel, but you can see clearly through it that Cassiopeia. You met them briefly when you guys were at the space station. They're one of the techs or the crew members. Cassiopeia is inside that tomb.
I feel like I remember this face. I'm not good with names, but I'm good with faces.
There was a 4th one with
I guess
us.
I guess I'll just ask him. Yeah, you're right. There were 4. I could have sworn. And
It was a crew member. Open it.
So how do you want to open the tomb? What do you want to do?
Kill me opening this. I'm going to come and find you.
Well, I want to casually pry it and see if it actually works.
Whoa.
What?
There's systems in place and protocols and procedures. Even now, you've got an IV in your arm. Something tells me trying to crack this with a crowbar would be extremely bad.
I think.
Will you please move out of the way, Knuckle Dragger, and let me handle this?
Okay. Yeah, and when it backfires, come back for me for help. But by all means.
I go through and I look at the panel, and I try and access any kind of protocols to open.
On the outside of the tomb, there is a panel. Give me a roll versus your sys-op skill.
Let's see. Sysops is 30. We'll see how this goes.
Well, it's better than the base 10.
20.
Nice.
That does it. So Dr. Torrance is able to find a button sequence that lights up green, and then the process by which the tomb would happens. It basically releases itself. It slides over to the side of the HUD. There's words written on the screen which looks similar to what you saw on the screen of yours. Dr. Torrance, I'm not going to make you roll for this because you're going to see this immediately. There's blood on the inside of Cassiopeia's tomb. They are bleeding. There's a wound basically below the ribs on the right side, and there's something medical gauze has been put over it by somebody, but it's staining through. The blood is coming through the gauze, so they didn't do a very good patch job, and it's seeped into the tomb beside Cassiopeia. It looks like you're hoping there's not a lot of blood, but maybe as much as a liter of blood is in that tomb beside Cassiopeia, and Cassiopeia appears to still be sleeping.
She's still under. She's been pierced, and something has ripped something open. She's bleeding. You there, and I point to John Ralphio Macchio. Find me a med kit somewhere around here, both of you, if you can. I'm going to apply some pressure here, and I try and kind of take a look at the wound, kind of open it up. I see a little bit of gauze there. I wanted to kind of verify what the wound is like. And on her screen, I should be able to see some kind of vitals, right? I imagine.
Yeah. So you'll see it is registering vitals for her. What you'll notice from her screen is that she's showing life signs. She's not in a coma. She's not frozen. It's showing a heart rate. It's a low, slow heart rate that shows vital signs and other signs indicating that she's okay. She's stable. One thing you guys remember is that they each have a little locker. That's what I told you in orientation. So it's supposed to be near your tomb, where there should be some equipment that's unique to each of you. In case
They didn't give us a tour of the facility. We weren't even supposed to be woken up before we got to the planet. Where the hell am I supposed to find medical supplies?
All right, come here and put pressure on this. And I grab his hand and put it on there. And I go searching around my tomb then for my own supplies, seeing if they put something there for me. Maybe there's something in the luggage that they packed for me.
And I'm going through it. Can I also search on my own from that?
Right. So I'll start with Macchio. Macchio, they allow you to bring a couple of personal items, basically under 10 pounds. You have some particular memorabilia, special, whatever you want to bring. So if there is something, you can declare it.
Can I say I brought a med kit?
Would that be just like special memorabilia for you?
Shit.
I didn't think
I'll put it this way. You probably won't need to.
Okay. All right. Then I got a locket from me and my daughter. That doesn't make sense. Whatever. I'm keeping it. It's a family locket, so it unfolds to every member of my alleged old family. I got my lucky wrench. It's always been with me from the beginning of time. It's always helped me in every scenario through construction and engineering. And the special backpack, I keep it in. That's all I got. That's what I got, I think.
So
Dr. Torrance, come by me.
Yeah, Dr. Torrance would have a simple medical kit, something they would have given him immediately. And also, you got some medication, personal medication that you prescribed for yourself as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so I go and I will search through and grab that.
And Chester brought some of his rare books and other items he would want to bring with him, whatever memorabilia he feels like he might need.
I grab it, I move over and I say, I found it here, and we go over, I open it up, and I search for something that's going to help me kind of assess the wound and clean and take a look.
All right, so I would let you roll either first aid or medicine, but I think medicine would be the choice.
Yeah, that is absolutely.
Give me a medicine roll.
Ooh, 87. May I inspire?
Yes,
Yeah, I'll do it.
The person you're working on would very much like you to do so, please.
63, which makes it.
Regular success. All right, so what the doctor will determine is this a puncture wound? Pretty simple. It doesn't look like it's been infected or there's no growth or anything wrong with it. It's a simple puncture wound that nicked an artery, something he could easily repair. It's no problem for him. So it takes him just a few moments of work. You can even cauterize the artery a bit and do your thing. right there.
I grab my dermal regenerator and no.
Star Trek.
So Tiana, for Cass, give her one more hit point.
Thank you.
Deal with that issue. She still is at the state we discussed.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, they are still at the state we discussed.
I was about to say, mate.
Cassiopeia, you are having nightmares as we speak. You're not awake, but you are dreaming. And you are dreaming of horrible, horrible things that is hard for us to articulate. It's your crewmates screaming and yelling at each other. There's fights, there's anxiety, there's an image of an object, a container, a sphere of some sort that is burned into your memory, but you don't know what it means. And you're having other thoughts as you look down a long corridor in zero gravity, and there's something at the back of that, the far distant end of that, but you don't know what it is, and it scares you. And as you're having these nightmares, you guys notice Cassiopeia starts to move a little bit. Her eyelids flutter. There's a REM going on.
I was told that we weren't supposed to be dreaming, but this one is clearly.
She's awake. She's alive. She's not under like we were. Something, I think, stabbed her and woke her up.
And left her to die? Didn't finish what?
I don't know. All I know is that this was closed. All of ours opened automatically. Hers did not. We need to take a look.
In 60 years of a journey, I don't see there being outliers. It being too irrational to think that there are outliers. I don't know what did this, but I feel like
something puncture her before she got into the chamber, or did a wild piece of meteorite come through the hull and hit her chamber? What?
We don't know. What we do know. Oh, go on, Aaron.
The integrity of the ship feels like we would be experiencing a lot more difficulties if it was a meteorite of some sort. What were you saying, Mr. Torrance?
It's Dr.
There we
Torrance. Okay, so with her, we have to go off the facts here. The fact is that ours opened because of an emergency and hers did not. Therefore, we know that there was a smear of what seems to be blood on the panel, and when we got in here, there was gauze. Somebody attempted to repair this wound already and is not here any longer. Maybe they got interrupted. Maybe they had to leave. But she is the crew, and she would have been first to be woken up if there was a problem. So,
is it possible that she tried to repair it herself and put herself in this state for stasis?
She could have woken up and realized that there was an issue and gone unconscious as a result of the blood loss. Yes.
I don't know. I didn't know much about Cass, but upon meeting them, I feel like I don't know. I got a gut feeling about this. I don't feel like they were the one who did this.
It
feels like it had to have been something. I'm sorry. What was the joke here? Because I'm thinking about Cass, someone I don't even know, sir.
Look, you both. I don't care about either of you. I just want to get planet side. This person can help us do that. I say we wake them up and then we ask them to put us back out once we secured the ship or whatever did this.
Our best bet is to wake her up. So what we should do is, these tombs are meant to administer some forms of drugs. So if we can get it to administer something to rouse her like it did us, perhaps we can get that. Can I look at the panel and see if there's any way I can choose a drug to administer?
So Dr. Stanley, when you first rolled that good roll in the sysop, you figured out how to operate it. You turned it on, and there's menus that you can scroll through. It looks pretty similar to some interfaces you've seen at the hospital. Nothing too complicated. You recognize the commands and the procedures, and you're able to find the one for the wake-up serum, the stimulant. You can administer it. It'll auto do the process once you press the button.
Okay, yeah, I'll set it up, and I say, I'm gonna attempt to wake her. Let's give it a go, and I hit the button.
Okay. So it begins to do its thing. You guys can see the fluid going into Cass's arm. And so Cassiopeia, you are aroused from your horrible sleep with a warmth in your arm, and your heart beating strongly. You don't feel the cold. You're a little bit more attuned to it than the others, but you still remember the dreams. And here these people are around you. They're not your crew.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 people you saw in the reception room, and you don't know why.
And am I still hurting from the gash?
You're cognizant of the pain because no one's giving you a painkiller,
Mm-hmm.
but that can be changed. But you feel it. You feel it. It's a burning sensation, an ache in your below your ribs on the right side. You don't know what that means, when it happened. You have no memory.
So yeah, my eyes just fly open and I gasp, just like.
And I say, do I have a flashlight of some kind somewhere?
In your kit, you do.
Okay, I grab it and I say, be easy. My name is Dr. Stanley Torrance. We were woken up in an emergency. You've lost a lot of blood and you had a puncture wound. Okay, I need to take a look at some things. And I take a look at her pupils there, see how she's doing. And then I say, can you tell me your name?
Cassiopeia Vega. Cass. People call me Cass.
And
I met you before in the reception room.
Good. All right, your memory seems to be working. I cannot.
Why the hell does my side hurt? That wasn't supposed to happen.
We don't know. I wasn't going to give you painkillers until we knew that you were awake and well. Okay. You are the only crew member that we know of that's awake right now. I don't know if the whole ship is awake. How many crew members are there here?
So there's the 3 that I worked with. Would there be more crew, or would it just be like if I was being woken up, it would only be Peter and Andy and Boss?
There's just 4 of you. That's all that the economics can afford. That's all they felt necessary. Just the 4.
There's 4 of us. We were split up into different rooms with the colonists, with you lot, in case something happened, in case a meteor strike or something bizarre happened to. Ow!
He looks over to Ralph. Meteor strike, you see? Meteor strike. That's my bad.
It's I
The
don't.
others,
If there was a meteor strike, it would have depressured the cabin and we would be dead now.
ours, yes.
Space soup, I like to call it.
Why are you awake? Why were you awake before me? You weren't supposed to. We're on a different system. I was supposed to be woken up before you if there was an emergency.
That, my friend, is the question.
I'm gonna like haul myself up and like stumble roll out of the coffin.
Easy. As I try and help her.
No time for easy, doctor. There's something wrong. There's something really wrong. Sorry.
You're walking it off.
And
Sorry,
as she walks away, she's still connected by the IV. I'm like, hold on. Do you want a painkiller or not?
Really, yes, please.
All right, I look for one that's not going to mess her up too bad. See if I can give her something.
Scrolling through the display, you'll find something that's a mild painkiller that should be sufficient for her body, for their body weight, and you administer it at the proper dosage.
Are there anything in the room that looks like a window or porthole or anything?
In this room, there are no portholes, no windows. There's 2 doors on opposite sides of this room.
Those don't have windows either. Those to other rooms. No,
they don't. There is that panel that the doctor mentioned earlier.
Yeah, as soon as I get that painkiller going through me, I'm gonna like nod and like look at the IV in my arm and go, I don't know medical things. Is it safe to take this thing out?
I go and I remove it from her arm.
Cool. Sorry, Bo, it's they.
I know that. My character doesn't know that.
Okay. I'm gonna like ow, muttering to myself and under my breath and go over to the panel to try and like I tap in the codes that I would have been given to try and figure out what the hell is going on.
Chess is over her shoulder almost annoyingly so. Over their shoulder almost annoyingly so.
So Cass has been trained and has used these panels before. They very quickly indicate it opens up, And the ship is explaining that there are several emergencies that need to be dealt with. They need to be addressed immediately. And the ship presents them on the screen as follows. It indicates that there's a problem with environmental system corrupted. The next line says, magnetic field generator offline. The next line says, hull breach. The next one says, segment corruption in multiple containers. The next one says, navigation offline. And the final line, nuclear engine containment breach.
Stop at that last one.
Sounds like we have a to-do list.
Chess has like his finger kind of like almost obstructing their view, and he's like, I don't know what this means, but I know this one. And he looks at Ralphio, and he mouths, hull breach.
I'm gonna like swat his hand away and be like, which of us is trained for this ship?
I don't know. Is it you?
Yes, it's me. This is what I've spent my life training for. Please stay out of my way.
Okay, do what you've been training to do, please. Please. I will help
like
as I
looking
can.
at the list, just like pale, like there was something that happened, and it's bad and it's big.
And Chess's face looking at Cass's face is just as pale as well. The person in charge is scared. He's fucking scared.
I mean, they're trying not to show they're scared. Like they have like the worst poker face ever, but they're definitely really pale.
Is there insight? I would love to either of them.
We'll take a roll. You got it.
Just either? Just any of the D100 roll?
You said no roll.
No roll needed. You got it. You can tell that the cast is concerned.
Sweet. All right.
Okay. In the spirit of openness, because I don't know where the rest of my crew is, and I may need your help. There's problems. There's a lot of problems. It looks like something breached the hull, and I'm gonna like. Does the panel have like a schematic that I can pull up as like a hologram?
It does.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up the hologram schematic and like manipulate it around with really quick practice movements to find the spot.
That looks really amazing, and I'm floored by the technology. I have one question for you. Cass, was it?
Cass, yes.
How far are we from Galice?
I actually have no idea, and I'm gonna. Would I have access to the system to tell me how far away we are?
There's one of the blinking lights is navigation offline, which in your training would tell you that you probably can't answer that question until that problem is fixed.
I'm gonna like trail my finger down. Right. Until that gets resolved, I can't really answer that question. Navigation is currently offline.
The hologram indicates that the breach is at the front of the ship, the very, very front. The dome is where it shows an indication of a hull breach.
So where that magnetic like propulsion unit is?
That's right.
Right.
Okay.
It looks like all of the problems have originated from the there's a word for this in nautical terms, the head of the ship.
Not starboard. That's what
that
I
is
call it.
not what it is.
It's gonna be the four.
Sure.
The bow.
The bow of the ship, sure.
I call it the tip. That's just me though.
God damn it.
Okay.
Yes. It looks like all of the problems are originating from some sort of a hull breach in the bow of the ship. That's where all the magnetic propulsion is. That's where a lot of the navigation systems are. And if there is a hull breach there, that's where the problem is. It's probably some sort of meteor strike or something. Nothing hugely concerning, but enough to wake me up, apparently.
Does the navigation system have logs?
Does it? It should.
It does.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not much good for you. I understand systems and operations of systems, and if you can get me a log, then maybe I can deduce what happened according to what timeline and exactly where we are. But mechanically, you probably are better served getting one of these gentlemen to help you.
I'm also sitting, while they're having this conversation, I'm sitting there trying to think what could have caused that puncture. Do I know what kind of the pattern was for the hole in their body?
For Cassiopeia's body, you didn't have a chance really to examine it more than it was just a straight puncture wound.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not through and through. It was puncture and out. So whatever punctured them was removed. but you didn't notice any kind of dirt infection or other things. So a clean puncture as far as medically concerned. But,
but I do have reason to believe it went in and out and nothing is remaining in the body, no foreign objects.
Yeah, you weren't able to fully clean the wound, but you did the best you could as a field doctor, but you feel fairly confident Cass should be okay.
Okay. All right, cool. How do we get to fix this? Cass, was that it?
Cass, yes, my name is Cass.
How do we fix this?
All right.
You do know this, Cass.
Yeah, I do.
So I'll explain what you know. Is that essentially you're in the rings you're in. The rooms, the boxes all connect to each other in a long circle. But at 3 points, there's a shaft that leads to the middle. So you have to find that shaft. It will lead to the middle of the ship, and like spokes on a wheel. The middle of the ship goes in every other direction. So you just have to find that access hatch. You will go up from your perspective, climb up to the center of the ship, and then from there, head to the fore, the bow of the ship. So you probably
should have asked this earlier. There is gravity, though.
Spin gravity, yes.
Okay.
Right. So and I'll explain all of that. So we need to go through the shaft into the main body and then up to the front, up to the fore.
And if there's been a breach up there?
If there's been a breach, then there are a million redundancy systems. It should have locked it all down. And that being the case, I should be able to get close enough, get into a spacesuit, and go and fix the breach.
Do you think it's a good idea to wake up your colleagues?
I don't know where they are. If there was an emergency, they should already be awake. So we would all know to check the panel, and we would all see where the problem is, and we would all head that direction. So we'll probably run into them on the way.
Wait. You need to know something else.
What?
We woke up, you did not. Yes, that's true. But there was blood on the outside. What? Tom, do I assume that was blood, the smear on the outside?
That's a safe assumption.
Yeah. There seemed to be blood on the outside of the panel to wake you of your tomb. And there was gauze inside the tomb with you. It seems to me like somebody, I don't know what happened, but your tomb was open prior to us opening it. So something may have happened to the other crew members if they were trying to wake you and stopped.
So someone opened my tomb, stabbed me, and left me there?
I think someone...
Why?
I don't know those answers.
Maybe they thought the job was done. Who knows?
You wouldn't stab someone in the side if you wanted to kill them.
And then bring gauze to try and fix it. I don't know, but someone cared enough to try and fix it. Whatever caused the accident, someone was trying to fix it. We may be dealing with someone who woke up early and was trying to murder you. I don't know.
Could be space madness. I've seen it.
That is a large leap of logic there, Doctor.
Why? Why? The systems are not exactly set up to stab someone and then leave them alone.
But who can really plan 60 years ahead of anything? I can't do that.
Everyone who planned the last 4 voyages, that's who.
Yeah, and 3 of them got lost.
One of them got lost. 2 of them made it safely, and one of them is still on its way and still checking in.
Oh, totally. Yeah, right. Only 1 got lost. That makes me feel much better.
1 out of 4. That's anyway.
Space is dangerous. We knew this coming into it.
We did, but before we go accusing anybody, let's just get to resolve this, because Occam's razor would dictate that if the simplest solution is most likely, then that's probably the outcome. Whatever this is purely accidental. If someone wanted to finish the job, no offense, Cass, they would have probably done it while she was under, and we wouldn't be talking to them now.
Them. I'm non-binary. They, them. Sorry.
Oh,
Sincerest apologies. Thank you for the correction.
Okay. It's a pretty common mistake. Anyway, there is one more thing before you woke me up. They always told me I wasn't supposed to dream. And I had nightmares before you woke me up.
We could see that.
I saw your vitals.
What? Sorry, all of you spoke at once. I can't hear everyone.
Your vitals showed that you were not in the deep sleep, and we saw your eyes fluttering back and forth in REM before you revived. Somehow, you were more than in your deep sleep when we came to revive you.
Which isn't supposed to happen. Something's gone really wrong, which I'm not supposed to say in front of colonists, but whatever. You three have helped me, so let's. I'm gonna go to the door. So you know how like we are trained in our normal life that if there's like a fire and you put your hand on the door and it's hot, you're not supposed to open it. Is there a way to tell the same sort of thing, like if there's a pressure breach outside of the door?
It'd be a lot colder. Yeah, so you've got that training.
Yeah, I'll put my hand out on the door to feel if it's colder than inside of the room.
You sense that it's the same temperature. You feel fairly confident that you should be okay to open that door.
And so I'll just like have my hand there for a second, eyes trundling back and forth, and nod and begin typing in the passcode to open the door.
It's a simple 3-digit code that works for every door on this entire circle. So the rest of the group probably noticed the code as well. When you do it, this door and the adjoining door, the two different storage units both open together, and you see another room identical to yours. There are 4 tombs inside. There's just basically like wardrobes, like closets, like storage, just areas of storage. One walkway, it leads to another door. There's nothing on the ceiling. The room looks identical to yours. The tombs you see appear to be dark. There's no activity, no blinking lights or warnings or whatnot.
Before he runs through the door, Chess jogs back to his personal artifacts and he goes and gets his handcrafted journal, and he kind of breaks it off and he looks at this. I don't know why, but I feel like something's going to come in handy. And he starts jogging towards and jots down what he knows very loosely, just making.
He sees me kind of collecting my kit together, putting it back together to take out to that. And I want to say, while I'm doing that, I want to grab the laser scalpel and I want to put it into my pocket.
Good. And Cass, if you would roll for me your education.
48 made it.
Good. Your training tells you that you're supposed to get your equipment if you're woken up.
Okay.
It's supposed to be stowed beneath your tomb.
Okay, so I'll as soon as I've opened up the door, I'm going to swing back around to the tomb and like slide out the drawer that I imagine is there.
It's empty.
Okay. Well, that's not supposed to happen. Shit.
Do we hear that?
Yeah.
What is not supposed to happen?
Other than you being stabbed in your container.
Fair. There is a long list of things that aren't supposed to have happened at this point, including us being awake. I'm supposed to have a kit of tools here, and they're not here. I'm gonna like stand up and kick the drawer closed in frustration.
Do you remember putting the tools there before you went under?
I didn't need to. I stashed them there a week ago.
A week ago?
Sorry, a week before we were put under.
Okay.
Time's weird.
Yeah, I got you now.
Could have been a week ago. We don't know.
But then who else would know about that?
I mean, the other 3 crew members, they would know. We all came up here together to drop off our effects before the colonists came on.
Maybe somebody tried to fix the breach. Who knows?
Maybe. But they should have woken me if that was the case. I'm the one set up for life support systems. This is my job.
Someone did wake you.
And I'd like put my hand on my ribs again. Yeah, that went real well, didn't it? All right. There's Tom. Would I know that if there's a secondary cache of tools somewhere else that I would be able to access?
There are quite a bit of extra tools in the habitation ring for any kind of extensive repair job you guys might need to do. There's a workshop that you've got with all sorts of backup, spares, replacement parts, the whole deal in the habitation ring. Should all be secure up there. Should be no problem.
In my sort of preparation, reading up on, what life is like in stasis and colonization and, space travel, because my mind is starting to go to darker places. What I've read of scenarios where there's like cabin fevers or sort of space madness or anything like that.
Yeah, there's plenty of documented cases of it all throughout human history, from ships to spaceships to the first colonies on both the moon and Mars had a lot of problems with people in close proximity or the long trip and and so not everyone's mind is able to handle such things.
One of the things that space flight and all the vetting can't prepare us for is the snapping of the mind, which is why, no offense, doctor, when they said you were on medications, I was curious as to why they still let you on the ship. You seem fine to me, but if there is a rogue mental patient aboard now, we might have a serious problem.
Yes,
I'm not.
sure.
I'm not as worried about a rogue mental health patient at the moment as I am about that hull breach. That's and
One
the
could lead to the other. The depressurization could lead someone's mind to.
Depressurization usually kills the person who's there.
Well, I mean, a fast depressurization. It's why I think swimmers and divers don't come up very quickly. They have to generally adjust quickly.
Sure, the bends.
It's very weird that the injury that you have sustained didn't really spike my curiosity, but missing pieces compounded with your injury. I don't know how we prepare, but I think we should prepare as best we can, if that makes any sense.
So how about this? Before we prepare and move out, why don't we take a quick break right now? It's good. We've been almost 2 hours in. Let's take a 5 to 10 minute break so everybody can do their biological, what functions we have to do, even in space. And then we will return once everyone is established and has new liquids to drink, so we can all shake and shiver.
I'm all thought out.
Shivering.
We will see you guys
like Austin Powers.
Break. Hang tight, and we will be right back. So we're coming back from our break just a touch early because Houston has informed us, of course, there were technical reasons. Of course, they're out of communication range for part of the orbit. So we have to do it now before we lose contact with the with ground control.
We've jettisoned them out of the airlock, actually, and Hal is not letting them back in.
I mean,
there are other key characters. Perhaps they're back looking at their tombs, or they're cleaning their shoes off, or having a private moment to themselves, or whatnot. But we'll stay out of character until.
We just got raided by the DAT Network. Thank you so much for the raid. They raided with 16, so I think that means we do a giveaway. We doing the hashtag chaos in the chat. Not now. Wait 1 minute. We're gonna give Thomas some time to queue it up, and then we're gonna trigger hashtag chaos in the chat. Get it ready.
Welcome to our show. We are not doing Dungeons and Dragons this week, and I am not Thomas. I'm another Thomas. I'm a different Thomas.
I'm the Thomas now.
My job as the other Thomas is to play Call of Cthulhu. We're playing Call of Cthulhu, and this particular scenario is set in the future in outer space. Our 4 characters here are colonists on a colony ship called ARK 105. They've discovered some problems with their ship, as many of them were woken up quite ahead of schedule, and there's a lot of unknowns. So our players are starting to return here. Let's see our...
Welcome back, Aaron.
Hashtag chaos in the chat, Raiders. Everyone, hashtag chaos in the chat.
I cannot believe it already started.
Yeah, we said, fuck you. You take way too long. We're just going to play without you.
We've been playing for like 10 minutes.
We solved it. The game's over.
Yeah. I'm glad I helped you solve it. I knew you couldn't do it without me.
Hashtag chaos in the chat, yo. If you want to win, what is it? Is it an enamel pin?
Yeah, it's a Foxy Irregular pin.
Yeah, hashtag chaos.
That is pretty sweet.
Those things are so pretty.
Yeah. Does anyone have one available we can show the audience?
I can't find mine. I'm really upset about this.
I have 2. Give me a second. Yeah.
Who can do it faster? Okay, I'm gonna run.
Get one. Yeah, let's see. Who
go.
Yeah, so a little bit later on the chat, somebody in the chat is going to tell you guys when, and you can use the hashtag chaos. And then we have a robot, a computer program that will decide the winner. It's not Thomas. It's not this Thomas. It's not a member of our crew. This beautiful item here that you see on your screen can be yours.
That is terribly out of focus.
The Foxy Irregular pin. So welcome to those who have rated us. And we see that Bo is confused because we're actually back, Bo. We came back a little early.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, Thomas had to go and do work stuff, so we had to come back a little bit early to accommodate for that.
I wasn't here either, Bo.
Yeah, ground control kind of forced us to return to the program. So as we're settling back in, our intrepid colonists must decide what they need to do, where they need to go, and how they need to try to fix this ship. So we're staring at another one of these rooms, these pods. Now this is number 270 that you're looking at for what it's worth. There are 4 tombs within it, and there are all the storage units and wardrobes that you've seen in yours. Looks entirely identical to yours. At the far end of the room, another similar door. That's all you see.
I want to go and look at the tomb to see if any of my crew members are asleep in one of those tombs. Because otherwise, I'll leave them alone. But if one of my crew members is asleep in there, I need them.
I'm going to be looking around to see if there's any kind of blood splatter or anything like that around a trail. Anything I can find.
All right. So I'd like to have both Cass and Dr. Colonist give me a spot hidden roll. You're basically trying to roll your target or lower on our D100 percentile class.
19 out of 45 is a hard success. 19.
And Dr. Torrance.
Well, it's 69, which is nice, but I don't think that's going to do it for me.
All right. So as far as the doctor's concerned, this room looks just like the other one, but he doesn't notice anything out of the ordinary. Cass, you look at the tombs, and unfortunately, none of them are labeled. There's no name stenciled on them. There's a barcode, which is useless to you, and the tombs are dark.
Sorry, my spot hidden is 75, so it does make it. Sorry.
Ooh,
it does. Okay.
Nice.
That's right. You put a 50 in that, if I remember right.
Yeah, I did.
So Dr. Torrance is looking, he's checking for blood spatter while Cass is looking at the tombs. And as Cass, as you peer in, you're pretty familiar with your crew members. You look at each of the 4 tombs, you see sleeping human beings. None of the 4 resemble your crew members, and nothing looks out of the ordinary as far as Cass is concerned. Doctor, the same. As you look everything over, you're not noticing any smears, blood stains, or other unfortunate accidents. It looks pretty clean, just as cold.
So I did say that we came up about a week before the colonists to drop stuff off. Do I remember what rooms the others were in? Because I'm in 272 and my stuff would have been put there beforehand. Did Andy tell me where her stuff is, or Peter, or Boss, or?
They did not. And you didn't even know where you're going to be. What they did is they asked you for your stuff. They labeled it as your stuff. They put it in a box. And as a note, Cass, you've never set foot on this ship.
Oh, sorry.
Cass is only virtually. She was virtually trained to fix this ship and done a couple of live simulations in the training center with actual ship parts, and a little bit of zero-G training, station with replicas.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't allow anyone on the actual colony ship. None of you got to tour it, for instance. They kept you guys restricted to the training center,
okay.
South America.
Cool. Sorry about that. All right. So that being the case, I'm gonna proceed onward and put my hand on the following door to do the same check to see if there's been a depressurization out in the main hallway.
All right. So the group goes through. Door opens into the next pod. We're looking at 286 to 268. We're moving sequentially. 268. And as it just briefly, it looks the same as the previous one. Nothing looks out of miss. The colonists are sleeping. The floors look clean. It's identical to the previous one. When you all study it, it looks exactly the same and secure.
Congratulations to Timekeeper Miyu for winning the enamel pin. I hope you're still around to claim it, but thank you guys so much, Dat Network, for the raid, and congrats to you.
Neat.
Sorry.
I want to say that I would continue leading the way through the rooms, aiming for the shaft that would connect us to the main body of the ship.
So essentially what happens is this, of course, Cass leads the group, same procedure. You open, you look, you check as you move through different of these capsules until you reach one that's different. The next one you reach is about 3 down. And what you notice is different about this capsule is there's a door in front of you and a door in the ceiling, which is what Cass was looking for the whole time, some ceiling access. Otherwise, it still looks clean and undisturbed. As far as you've noticed, nothing else looks out of place as far as any of you can tell.
In the rooms that we've passed, there are people still securely tucked away in their capsules.
That's correct.
So Chess asks to Cass, why would we wake up and not them?
I don't know. You weren't supposed to. Even in the case of an absolute dire emergency, the colonists were supposed to sleep all the way to the colony. It was just supposed to be the 4 of us that were woken up in case something happened. I don't know why you got on the emergency line.
Again, this screams of human intervention.
All I know is you can never expect the unexpected.
You sound like Boss when you say that.
All I know is if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. But I wouldn't give to be one of them right now.
Well, luck has put you where you are, and
Yeah, they may never wake up. So I feel you there.
Well, then we better find some answers in their honor, just in case.
I'm gonna give Dr. Torrance a sidelong look of.
I give him the same look.
Very, very inquiring, but not prying.
I think we have 2 different motives for wanting to be under. Doctor.
Yeah. What can I say? I've become a bit of a nihilist myself these days.
Not to. Ain't it, Doc?
How long has it been since we went under? I haven't been able to.
And I won't be able to know until we're able to get the navigation system fixed. once I get that, I'll be able to get the logs that you asked for. Chess, was it?
Yes, Chester.
Sorry,
Chess,
All right.
you call me Mr. Lorimer, whatever you want. I don't care. How can I help?
And you're John?
Hey, yeah, John, Ralphio, Mazzio, any of the three. It's up to you.
Dr. Torrance, you said?
Yes, Dr. Stanley Torrance. You may call me Stanley.
Do you prefer Doctor or Stanley?
As you like. At this point, I think we're beyond any of that.
Okay.
It's all the same if you don't survive, am I right?
Isn't that the truth? Is there like a ladder leading up to the door?
There is. Okay,
I'm going to let's like nimbly as nimbly as a monkey, just like scramble up the ladder and tap in the code to push it open.
Yeah. And it slides.
Okay.
Yeah. And the ladder proceeds up and up and up into the belly of the body of the ship.
And I'm gonna like hang on. I'm gonna actually with my left arm because my right side is still aching like a motherfucker. Just like lean down, look at them, and say, "It's a bit of a climb, but this is our way."
Cass, give me a spot hidden roll.
Okay.
Do it.
41 just made it.
Okay.
Are we checking skills off on this, by the way? Since
probably no need to. I don't think we'll. It's possible we'll play this character again, but very, very, very unlikely. But if you'd like to, feel free. But
and can you tell people who don't know all about Cthulhu what that means?
So for Cthulhu, I mean, in D&D you level up with a certain level of experience, and you get new powers and abilities and whatnot. In Cthulhu, as you succeed in any particular skill, there's a box next to every single skill on your sheet, and we put a check marks in it that shows that we've successfully done that skill. At a time of rest, like when the story is over, when the campaign's over, when you have a break, some downtime, the characters are allowed to do little skill checks versus everything that they've succeeded in. And the funny thing with these skill checks is you actually want to fail. It's a kind of reverse logic. So you skill check the stuff you've done well. If you fail, then you actually increase and improve your skills. So it's a way that characters get better over time with experience. And then the higher your skills are, the harder it is to improve as well, because harder it is to fail on those rolls. But the little mechanism that the game has.
In Masks of Nyarlathotep, how often does that opportunity arise where you guys get to rest and
it's usually we usually do the level up after every city. So it's after New York, after London, after Egypt,
Cairo, yeah.
Yeah, after Cairo, and hopefully, assuming we survive Shanghai, after we leave Shanghai.
Nice.
It's at the discretion of the keeper. It's really kind of a break time when there's a break in the story. The characters get a chance to develop their skills, take it easy or whatnot.
Yeah, and for us, it's the long ship voyages that are good natural breaking points.
Chess puts away his book and he starts walking or climbing up. He's pretty decent in climbing, so he's a little more nimble than he expects. But as he's walking, he kind of talks down to Dr. Torrance. He's nihilism. That's an interesting philosophy choice for someone who chooses to go on an expedition. Why not keep yourself at home? I understand that the expansiveness of the universe sometimes gives a nihilistic perspective on the meaninglessness of it all, but then in the gravity of world, you quickly come to understand that everything does matter and you are a cog.
Yeah, I die here on this ship. I die on Earth. I die when we get there. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is that it doesn't matter. So,
well, not allow me to be grim there, sir, but why not expedite the process yourself? And he looks to Machio.
I don't say expedite the process. I feel like I may be picking up a different context from what you're saying, but basically, you, Doc, I appreciate that. I like that. If every human's got to go out one way or another, at the end of the day, the end of the lifespan. But whether it's on Earth or in space, it may be for a greater cause. I see you. I see you, Doc.
I appreciate that, but also, what is it? Chess?
Yes,
You strike me as an educated man.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Yes. I think you caught on that pretty well. Why not expedite the process? Of course, I would be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. And I would be lying if I said I hadn't tried it.
So there's kind of a grim silence, and Chess breaks the silence of his thoughts with, this is a problem that our ancestors also had to deal with. Even the expansiveness of staring into the stars before journeying there were some traits of depression among prehistoric, pre-cultural civilizations. There is some clues that tune into the fact that they understood the uselessness of it all. But still, here we are. We progress in spite of those leanings. You, sir, are the more intelligent among us, because if you contemplate life and not seriously consider an exit strategy, then I'd argue you haven't been thinking about it at all. And that separated our ancestors from its more primitive cousins. That gravity of the expanse.
I wish.
Gravity. Well, as you guys climb up and up and up and up.
I imagine we're climbing while they're talking, and I'm just above them listening to all of this.
The effects of the spin gravity get lessened. The further you get from the outside of the spin, closer you get to the center, you start to become weightless. You can make it easier, but it's also a little weird as you're starting to float, and every movement, your body is your momentum is starting to carry you up the shaft as you climb as well. It takes something you're used to.
My strength is coming back. Oh.
As soon as Cass starts feeling themselves becoming a little bit lighter, they're gonna let go of the upper rung and push themselves up with their feet in little hops up the ladder, because it's as natural for them as breathing at this point. They're dealing with 0G.
So Cass beats the rest of you up to a door, which leads to the center spoke. But Cass does wait for the rest of you to work your way up. You're all careful, and yet there's handholds there. There's actual ladders on both sides of the shaft for you to use on both. So it's not a difficult climb. It's just an awkward and unusual situation to be in for those of you who never experienced it before. But the group of you make it up to a door that leads to the center of the ship, and Cass opens the door. The door slides in. Cass, when you were in the shaft, you could already smell that the air was wrong, and that's your thing. That's your specialty.
Yeah.
It's more oxygen rich than it should be, for one. And there's other trace elements you don't recognize, but it's wrong. When you open the door, it's tenfold. The smell changes. The center of the ship, something does not smell right at all.
Yeah, Cass sneezes 3 times, okay.
And this is not a situation where the rest of you notice it's not dust, it's not an odor, but the air mixture is wrong for some reason. That our crew members seems to be affected by it.
Right. No one strike a match or any other sort of open flame around here. The air is more oxygen rich than it should be, and there's something going on that I don't recognize by smell, and that's an issue, because I thought I recognized everything that went through a life support system.
Sorry.
I recognize it.
Let's see what John. Which skill did John use? Let's see.
That took me a second, chance.
Which one? Say again.
Which skill would John want to rely upon to see if he can tell that it smells wrong?
Engineering? Would I know? That is one of them.
Very unsure about that.
One of the higher one. Is that a?
I'll let you roll. See if you give me a critical success, and I'd like to do that. If you're engineering, perhaps some underwater projects or something, that might make sense.
28 out of for
So
engineering.
what is engineering?
Engineering is 70.
All right. So 28 would be a hard success. All right. On a hard success, Machio can tell that the air smells funny, heavier than he thought it would.
I can't depict what specifically is making it heavier, though. I can just.
But it's not like an ozone smell or a smoky smell either that he would recognize from construction. It's a heavier, thicker sort of smell that he can't put his nose on.
Okay. It's odd. It might not be flammable, but this is heavier. This is feeling like kind of it's not safe to be here too long, but it's not the worst it could be, you know?
Well, my concern, well, aside from the element that I can't identify in the air, is that there's more oxygen, and where there's more oxygen, fire spreads a lot faster. It's the fire triangle.
It's not ideal. Yeah.
It's very much not ideal. Are we all sort of like floating at this point, and B, which way to the workshop that I would be aiming toward to get my tools?
Right, so you're all floating, you're in the center of the ship. It's a large round center, and what you're seeing on all sides are tubes and conduits. The walls are basically covered in tubes, which run the length and breadth of the entire ship back and forth. Whether it's wiring or the collection of fuel, who knows? Cass would know. But yeah, it's 0G here in the center of the ship. If you go back, you can go to the cockpit. If you go forward, you can reach the habitation ring. And if you keep going forward, you can make it to where the magnetic field generator is and where the hull breach would be.
Okay, and so and along the way to the hull breach, I would find a workshop, or do I need to go back into the cockpit to find the workshop?
So Cass knows that if you go forward to the habitation ring, you'll have to exit to the habitation ring, go out, and then it's part of the habitation ring, which has got your workshop, your sciences, your biology, all your storage replacements, all the stuff that Cass and her crew would need for any kind of extensive repair period.
Okay, so I'll explain that to the other three that we need to move a little bit further forward or backwards. I saw it's forwards, right?
Forward.
Okay,
that direction?
We need to move a little bit further that direction to get into the habitation ring where my workshop is, where I can get tools to deal with all of this. Have any of you been in 0G before?
No, but that was going to be my segue to Dr. Torrance. Dr. Torrance, it's the little things in life that make it worthwhile. And this being my first time in 0G, there's an experiment that I've always wanted to try, if you will, please. And he kind of backs away and he crouches down a little bit and he looks up in the direction he's supposed to go, and there's silence, and then you hear as he slowly propels in that direction. It worked.
And
are you crying?
I was 11 when I tried that experiment. It's funny, isn't it?
I turn to John Ralphio Macchio and I say, "Is that the smell that you smelled?"
No, it is almost similar, but also really no one's mentioning the tears in this man's eyes. This is a very deep joy he is feeling.
To answer your question, Cass, yes, I've spent some time in 0G.
Oh, excellent. It's a bit of a learning curve trying to get it right the first time, but
in the backdrop,
grab him, bring him
Tress is
back.
flailing. Yeah, okay, because he propelled with nothing to hold on to and shoot for.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And so it's basically, to answer your question, I have some experience in 0G. Pulling him back.
Excellent.
Thank you, Doctor.
So we're going to need to make 0G hops, basically from side to side as hard as you can to try to get to the door to lead into the habitation ring.
Glad I scratched that itch. Okay.
There's
I will follow.
There are handrails and other ways to grab and pull yourself as well. But the hopping is probably a more experienced 0G person. When Cass is able to quickly maneuver, the rest of you can kind of pull and tug your way down and try not to tumble or lose control. But Cass and the doctor seem to be more able to make their way down. The center of the ship is pretty much one long container, one long corridor, and it's massive. At some point, Cass recognizes the markings for where the habitation ring is connected. And what Cass notices, and the rest of you notice as well, is it's spinning, right? So the access actually moves slowly around the tube that you're in. It's not difficult, and Cass helps the four of you, basically with an arm kind of throws each of you in there.
Yeah.
You grab a hold of the ladder, and you now have to climb up. Actually, I'm sorry, you're climbing down. You're climbing down
into the ring.
This should be doing. So as you climb, gravity increases more and more and more as you approach the habitation ring.
And I'm sure that as they descend, you hear Cass let out a sad little sigh as they descend back into normal gravity.
At the bottom, there's another door that Cass opens. The door slides open. And the scent, once again, is different. All right. So all of you recognize a much more earthy scent that you're familiar with from being on planet Earth. The air doesn't have that sterile ship smell to it or even an ozone smell to it. There's something in the air that seems more like home, frankly.
Would I recognize the scent?
Yeah, everyone the three of you that lived on Earth and worked on Earth, it's much more earthy. And even Cass knows this is not really what
I've lived on Earth.
Yeah, all of you recognize it. It's more of a natural scent to it.
Is this normal in the habitation ring?
You haven't been told so, but you really couldn't say. The simulations didn't really tell you what it's supposed to smell like.
Like sniffing the air, like.
What?
Well, it smells like the woods. That's not. I mean, the simulations that I ran didn't exactly include smell, but I didn't expect to smell Earth.
This is the habitation ring, right?
Yes, but everyone on it is asleep.
Well, do they not have stuff here for terraforming? I assumed.
That might be it. And I'm gonna trot ahead and start aiming for the workshop, remembering where it is in the schematic.
All right, so Cass essentially you climb down the ladder into this first room. There's two ways to go, right and left. Cass, you're not entirely sure which of the three entrances that you're in, but there's markings on the walls.
Okay.
Location, color-coded and whatnot that you understand. Now, the workshop would be to your left. The room that the three of you are in, though, the first thing you notice is the floors. There are vines trailing along the floor from one end of this room towards right around to where you're standing. It looks like ivy and a little bits of moss and whatnot is on the floor of this room.
I'm gonna pause and crouch down next to one of them and be like, so all of the samples are supposed to be contained.
Why are we growing? Wait, quick thing. This is an ivy? Like poison ivy?
It looks like an ivy.
What the hell? Why are we growing this out in space? Why are we growing hazards in space?
Ivy takes very low conditions to grow. It would be a good plant to bring to a habitable world to see if conditions are ripe for growth. But this isn't supposed to be a terraforming expedition. This is supposed to be an anthropological dig to find remnants of society.
Well, and it's a colony.
Too. But also the issue that I have is any samples that we have are supposed to be contained. They're about yay big. They're not supposed to be growing along the floors and the walls. This is.
How long has containment been breached?
That's an excellent question.
Well, given the growth rate of ivies and the amount of time, I'd say these ivies have been here out of their chamber for quite some time.
How fast does ivy grow? I don't spend enough time on Earth to know that one.
Anybody have biology?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I know
Go ahead and roll for it.
All right, let's do it. my number next to it is 60, 61. I'm gonna roll the D100 and 69. Can I get a reroll? I guess.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll second.
All
Sure.
right.
Go for it.
Hmm.
Spend one.
So minus those bits, reroll it again. Come 10.
Nice.
Boom.
That's a
that-
critical success.
Critical. Yeah, my number is 12 next to that.
All right, Chester, what you know, of course, is with the right conditions, just a little bit of moisture, these can grow in pretty much any direction, and they'll stick to surfaces. The growth you're seeing here is hard to calculate without seeing the roots, but just what you see in this room, probably take the course of at least 2.5 years.
I relay that, and I say, we've been out for 2.5 years at a minimum.
All right.
That makes sense.
It doesn't make sense that that it's loose though. So something unleashed these, but why?
I don't like the way you inferred something.
Something, someone, I don't know. I'm leaving my options open at the moment. And I'm going to keep trotting towards the workshop. Little, 4'11", almost 5 foot person just trotting along.
So the road towards the workshop leads towards the ivy, just as a note.
Excellent. Is the door overgrown with ivy?
The ivy is going under the door.
Well, whatever I'm looking for is connected to this. This should be fun.
Cass left on their own, correct? Pretty much from the group.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They are up to the door, but they have not yet opened it.
I'd imagine that I followed them, my gaze through the hallway, but not followed directly.
I directly followed as John.
I'm following along as well, kind of looking at things up and down and taking it in, kind of gripping that scalpel a little tighter in my pocket.
I follow last.
I'm going to pause at the door, and an overabundance of caution is making me want to listen through it to see if there's anything weird on the other side.
Give me a listen roll, Cass.
27, success.
Okay. Cass hears what Cass assumes is the regular hum of the engines, but no other unusual sounds.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause and have my ear to the door for a second, and then step back and type in the code. Is it the same code as it would be for the habitation ring, or is it something that only crew would know?
Different code for this ring than for the ring where you were on the colony ring. So, new 3-digit code. The rest of the party will probably notice it as well. Take note of the code, so you'll have to write that down. All right, Cass. The door opens, but it opens a little clunky. It's a little jammed up, but it does open. It has its issues, and it unveils a room that is overgrown with foliage, with vines, and actually there's flowers. Little thorns and little different forms of flowers. We got orchids, we got your kind of more larger blooming things, strange looking little Venus flytrap sort of fellows, thorns and roses and things. The floor is covered in green, goes up the walls, crosses across the ceiling. The whole room is almost like a jungle, but it's all stuck to the floor, stuck to the walls, or stuck to the benches. There's benches and tables in this room. Computer terminals are covered in plant life.
Peering into the door as I see that, would I at this point I might amend my date speculation, given if my biology guess would be I'd say 15 years. Scratch that. We've been asleep 15 years. Would I know based on that amount of overgrowth to amend that initial count?
It take a lot more time, but one thing that troubles Chester is you're not seeing any soil. You're not viewing any kind of soil or any kind of other fertilizing agent or whatever. It's something's odd about all this. It doesn't seem like an environment that should support this much growth.
Where is the root? Where are they latched to? Where is the soil?
You know what it reminds me of a little bit? That children's tale that I grew up on, Sleeping Beauty, with all of the stuff overgrowing the tower where the princess was sleeping.
But even then, the overgrowth came from the ground.
Yeah, but it reminds me of that a little. And I'm going to step inside very carefully, looking around.
It's very difficult not to step on something green.
Mm-hmm.
But do you go so anyway?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a luck roll, Cassiopeia.
Oh, fuck. 56 out of 70.
Okay. As Cass steps in, Cass, you can feel the vines or whatever it is beneath you. It seems to move and shift. And then as it moves around, something moves across Cass's foot, and Cass very quickly pulls their foot away and steps back. And the vines begin to recede and settle back to the position that they were in.
Chester, that's not normal.
I've not seen, as he pulls open his book and starts jotting this behavior in plant life previously.
It's alive and it's moving,
well,
and it's moving very quickly, a lot quicker than any plant I've ever run into.
What the hell are you doing? You're not even helping her? And I want to say John like helps stretches a hand out to Cass.
And I'll grab
Helping
his hand
them.
and use it to
Helping them. God damn it. Come on. I'm saving a life.
and Cass just like shakes their head and grabs his hand and pulls back.
Right. So the
plants move.
Four of you are outside this room now, outside the doorway, observing it. The plant life doesn't appear to be moving or responding as you look at it. It lays peacefully still.
Plants move. They grow. They have been known to respond to sound and touch, but not this rapidly.
Does Ivy move like that thing in the Star Wars movie?
No.
Listen, I've only seen Little Shop of Horrors. That's what I'm going off of. And I swear to God, I am not going to lose someone to some giant talking, jazz singing plant.
You know what?
It was amazing.
I second that. They were some mean green mothers from outer space. And this is probably of the same ilk.
Well, I mean, we are in outer space, but green things don't usually survive out there. And I'm going to point in the direction of the hole from where we are.
Is that pointing direction across the plant life or in an opposite direction?
Essentially, pointing down would be pointing out from your perspective. The floor would be outside, the ship. Pointing up is towards the center, but the plants are coming from further in front of you. From the room in front of you seems to be more the origin.
So if we don't have to unlock this mystery now, I say we come back and leave.
Here's the problem with that particular sentence. This is the workshop. This is where all of the tools that I need to fix that hull breach are. So unless I can find my fellows, or I can find where they're sleeping and for some ungodly reason haven't been woken and get their tools, I need to be in there.
Well,
is there another way?
Do you have an inventory of the plant life that you've kept on this ship? Because what I'm thinking of is no matter the overgrowth, oak trees and ivies aren't necessarily dangerous, no matter how quickly they move.
All right. And I'm going to go to one of is there like a terminal in the room beforehand that might have like an inventory of the samples that we would have brought with us?
There is a terminal in the room that you first entered as you came into the habitation ring. It's got a terminal on the wall that accesses the ship's computer. It just as a note, this ship flies itself.
Yeah.
It's got an advanced AI that manages everything and normally doesn't need any of you, but for extreme circumstances. It also doesn't have any arms, legs, or whatever. It can't fix anything. It's just a computer. But there's a terminal there. And one other note Cassiopeia is aware of is the habitation ring is a circle. So there are two different ways to get to anything in the habitation ring. It's a long way, but it's possible.
So the room that we're looking into, was that the workshop, or would I need to go through there to get to the workshop?
The room that you were just looking into is some sort of preparatory room that is used, open spaces of tables and work benches in case the crew would need a space to repair something. So it's an available space for the crew for larger circumstances that's now overgrown with plants.
Okay.
It's not anything that you recognize as far as a functional room.
Okay, so I will relay back to the other three that We may be able to get to the workshop, but it will take a significantly longer route around. It'll take more time, but I don't know about you, but I have a really bad feeling about that room, and I don't want to walk through it.
What other choices do we have, though?
Love it.
Whoa!
Please ignore that.
The acoustics in here are amazing.
That was cool.
Sorry, I have space madness. I said that 5 times.
So going with Chester's idea of the inventory, the wall computer is accessible. Does Chester want to use it, or should we have Cass use it?
I mean, if it's a basic sysops check, I mean, UI that anybody would understand, I could give it a check.
It really is, and I'm not going to require you to roll for it. It's
Okay.
a common UI that everybody is familiar with using, with menus and options and forward and backward or whatever. When you tab through it, it talks about inventory of biological samples that were brought. And yeah, there were a lot of Earth biological samples brought because they might perhaps grow on another planet. They don't know what will and won't grow. So there's a whole catalog. And going through everything there looks like it's a very hardy, resilient, a fast grower, but there's nothing there that's harmful to humans or that has, no poison ivy, poison oak, or anything that seems unusual. There are some carnivorous plants that eat insects. A couple of those are in there, but there's a couple, because who knows? Maybe those are useful. The vast inventory is ivy and moss and other leaf-bearing plants, but sturdier stuff.
So looking through that, he goes, "This seems about normal in the way of experiences." And I'd say, he says smugly, the most dangerous thing in here is a Venus flytrap. If you're a bug.
I mean, perhaps I'm cursed with an overabundance of caution, but the thing that moved under my foot was nothing that I've ever felt before, and I don't intend to mess with it. I will take the long way around. I'll take the high road. You take the low road. How's that?
I don't know where I'm going, so I'm stuck to your hip anyway.
Fair enough. I'm not going through that door because that freaked me the hell out.
Is there any way to stop gravity on this ring?
I imagine there is, isn't there?
Yeah, Cass, there's a way to do it. There's basically brakes that you would initiate with the ship. It would slowly stop the spin, which was stop spin gravity. And then there's ways to start it up again if you need to.
Yeah.
And we could float to the other side.
Sure. Yeah.
Over the plants.
That's certainly doable. And I'm gonna go to one of the control panels that would allow me to do that and look at the others and go, do you want me to stop the gravity here? Just be aware, you need to hang on to something.
We don't know what that's going to do to the plant. I'm just trying to work through it. It is an option.
That is a good option, but I'm not very confident in my ability to float across things.
I don't mind risking myself to do it.
Look, at the end of the day, you three are the ones that I have as my hands and eyes at the moment. I understand that the doctor has a good dose of nihilism going on, but right now I need all of you, and I need all of you to be as safe as possible. Please.
Long way around it is.
Excellent.
Would you permit a small experiment before?
I'm less of a scientific bent than some of our associates here. Please have at it, Doctor.
What would you say if I cut one of these leaves? See what reaction happened.
I would get personally upset, but given the reaction of the plant life in the room, my curiosity would outweigh my anger.
Well, and isn't that how you transplant ivy and stuff like that? You take cuttings, leaves and such.
That's correct.
It doesn't hurt them necessarily. It just
even broccoli screams when you rip it from the ground.
Yes,
I agree.
Yes, and I imagine you still eat meat regardless.
And if it does hurt it, we will definitely find out clearly. So, I say in the sake of experimentation, you should definitely do it.
I think so.
I also say we should get a safe distance away as you do it. Anybody?
I'm not going to leave Stanley alone to deal with the situation.
I'm not saying deal with it alone. I'm just saying if Stanley, you can do it even as well. If all of us can do it from a safe distance, I think that would be highly preferable. But if our only option is up close and personal.
Well, the other choice is that we wait until we have to cut these. That way we don't risk any kind of whatever they may be. I can't imagine that it would, but any kind of adverse effect to me cutting a leaf off of a plant.
The plant beneath Cass's foot moved. That would indicate self-preservation instinct.
It moved.
I would shudder to think what it would do if you tried to hack off a limb.
You know, we're in space. As far as I'm concerned, not being a scientist or a doctor, just an engineer. Classic.
That is that word. Well done. You seem to struggle with it.
Thank you, Doc.
If you want to cut it off, I'll close by, but away from anything plant-like.
I'm just saying,
I'll
I'm
be watching.
Every negative possibility to go our way. I've seen Predator.
Okay, this is not a film.
No, but we are in a very unusual circumstance in a space station in the middle of space. So
You're right.
Caution, I think, needs to be our watchword.
And we'll wait until we have to, but I was just thinking an experiment so we have more information.
Doctor, please.
Very well.
I think
I will walk up to the ivy and start with that. Seeing as
I'm going to take a few very healthy steps back.
That was within this room, and we did not see it move. So that's my control.
Sure.
So the doctor is using your scalpel, right?
Yeah.
It's a very fine cutting instrument. Excellent. It's very easy to use, and you're very skilled with it. I'm not going to make you roll for it. The doctor does make a quick incision across the ivy. It appears to cut as you would expect for a plant. And after the cut, it separates, and then you'll notice that the part closer to what you would assume is the stalk or the stem begins to retreat slowly. It kind of moves slowly away from where the cut happened, and towards the room with all the other plants.
Do you see that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't.
You know, who knows?
Look, let's just... You've all seen horror films back on Earth?
Hell yeah.
Let's not be a horror film protagonist and assume that something isn't weird about the plants.
Okay.
I concur. I also say we stay together. No one should split apart. The second we do that, we're all dead.
Don't split the party.
Don't do it. 100%.
We'll see what happens. Very well. The long way around.
Guess we will see what happens.
And I'll lead the way back to the ladder to go back into the 0G area to go the long way around.
So you do have two choices. You can go back to the center and climb another spoke, or just circle, walk the circle, because it's a circle spinning. You know, it's what it is. It's a habitation ring.
So I know the simulations pretty well. Which way do I think would be faster, even with people who don't necessarily know 0G?
With people with no 0G skills, you want to stay in the spin gravity. It'd be faster.
Okay.
For you, the fastest would be to go through the middle and take a shortcut. But
yeah.
That's more apt to the environment.
That's fair. I'm gonna look up longingly at the ladder, then sigh and say, "All right, this way," and lead the way around the ring, basically.
I trust it.
I'll take up the rear.
Got it. Going through, Cass is in the lead, and then the doctor's in the rear.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here's what you guys will discover in the habitation ring as you go through the different rooms. You'll go through several large storage rooms that the Cass will remember from her training, and Cass makes a mental note of one particular bin where the filters are stored for life. You got to replace those in the center of the ship, but you know where the filters are. You ID the locker. That's where I need to go with the filters. There's a bunch of them in there. You probably can't carry them yourself. You need to make several trips or have friends. But this is where you'll get your filters for that. You pass other parts lockers and storage rooms that are labeled with codes, but Cass makes a mental inventory of, okay, if I need to replace that, this is where it is, this is where that is, as you're going through.
And I imagine it's not even mental. Like I'm muttering to myself out loud, and it's in like my shorthand. So I hear myself make the note, but everyone else can hear me muttering too, like a crazy person.
You guys will reach a room where there are several space suits stored on the wall, which everyone pays attention to because there's helmets, as well as suits that can deal with a zero-G environment or the vacuum. So there's some vacuum suits here on the wall. There is one missing.
And Cass will just like stop dead in front of that.
So, and the wall has 7 suits instead of 8, is what there is on the wall.
There's supposed to be one more here.
So it's 4 primary and 4 spares.
This furthers my belief that someone was trying to fix this before.
The idea is that each of us would have our primary spacesuits, and then if that failed, we would each have a secondary. And one of them is missing.
So
can I look and see if there's blood anywhere nearby that?
I won't make you roll spot hidden because you don't see any. This room is fairly clean.
Okay.
But one thing you will notice, roll spot hidden for me anyway, for another reason.
Roll spot hidden.
Is the missing spacesuit a specific size, or
that is an odd 8, which is a critical success for me.
Nice.
The code next to the missing spacesuit indicates that it would be the one that Andy would use.
Like frown and sudden like immediate concern, and just like tap the code a couple times, like, Andy, what the fuck are you up to?
Do you know this person?
So each of these is coded to one of us. I mean, we can use anyone else's, but we prefer to use the one that's coded to us. And this one is coded to my friend Andromeda, Andy. And it's missing.
do you think?
Andy?
I'm sorry. I don't know if you know this, but is there anybody along the same measurements as your friend Andy?
I mean,
I don't want to.
everyone else in the group is about the same height and size. I'm the shortest, and I'll actually point at the 2 that are meant for me because they're a little bit smaller. The other 3 are about the same size. I mean, the 2 that are made for me had to be made specially for me because, well, pocket sized.
Fair enough.
But I mean, sure, Peter could wear it, or Boss could wear it, or I mean, it's average size. Any of you 3 would have a little bit of trouble, but you could wear it.
Would any other passengers have access to this chamber to get to these suits?
No, I mean, you 3 saw the code that I had to put in. It was different than the code that's in the coffins area. And honestly, you 3 might not have even noticed the codes to get into the doors there.
Well, wait, who else other than you knows your code?
I mean, Andy and Peter and Boss. It's the same code for all 4 of us to get through the doors.
Well, I'm just a guessing man. But
if you're about to say anything about the people that I spent the last 11 months training with for this particular mission, I'm going to very strongly suggest you bite your tongue.
biting away. But 11 months compared to the entire life isn't really that much of a
11
life.
months spent living with, breathing with, practically sleeping on top of each other. We're family. We're closer than family.
Right.
Oh,
Fair enough.
My
Fine,
question
good,
is, we are going to need these eventually if we want to repair the breach, yes?
I'm going to step back and look critically at all 3 of them and then at the suits. Do I think that they're going to be able to fit inside of them?
So what is the size of each of the 3 of your characters, starting with John?
I would 6 foot flat.
What the size?
Is the number in the box.
Oh, my bad. I forgot. 60.
The John was, what's Dr. Stanley's?
Let me see. Size is a 50.
The doctor will fit, and then what's Chester's size?
50.
All 3 will fit.
Yeah. Yeah. You should be fine in those 3.
Should be is not
I mean, they weren't made for you. They weren't tailored for you. But in a pinch, we can make them work.
You're skipping ahead. My dear.
You want to try that sentence one more time?
Yeah, I'm not wearing a suit.
Okay.
Does dude still work? This is a legitimate question. My dude.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's fine.
See, okay, cool. Now we're learning. Now I'm learning. I do not know. I am 45. I'm just saying. I don't know. Now I'm knowing. My dude works. I'm using it. Hashtag my dude.
My family's from the Bay Area. Everyone's dude.
Perfect. Yeah, the freaking surfer dudes. You get it.
Dude, I'm not breaching any holes or repairing any from the outside. I'm staying firmly in here, where the oxygen is nice, and the room is temperate.
That said, though, if you need them for any reason, say for example, there's another hull breach, they'll fit you, and you'll be fine.
Well, they're too bulky to take with us right now, anyways, right?
They're far too bulky to take with us. But that said, I unless someone wants to volunteer to come and fix a hull breach, which isn't your job, I'm going to be the one handling that.
Well, let's say worst case scenario, the hull breach kills us all because it goes unattended.
Cass, roll your education for me.
Education. Okay.
Well, I wish I would have died in my chamber and not out here freezing in a hole, repairing it in the icy cold vacuum of space.
So Cass, all your training for a hole or basically repairs outside a ship, in the vacuum of space has always been a buddy system. It's always been two people repairing it, never alone, for safety reasons. Everything you've trained to do is with a buddy.
Yeah, but I'm also not going to ask the civilians to do it unless they understand that this is dire need. My hope is still to find my engineering partners and fix this with them. Worst comes to worst, though, my eye's on John to come and help me with this.
Picking it up. If no one else is stepping up to the plate, I feel like I'm the only one who can really do this job.
Yeah.
It's either option A, someone goes out there and dies alone and does what needs to be done, or option B, someone stays in here to protect their own skin and dies with the rest of the ship.
Hey, do you want to unearth ancient alien relic civilizations? No? Then how about we both do our jobs here? You fix things, I discover things.
Okay? I'm gonna step between them and hold my hands up between them and be like, okay, this is all very theoretical at the moment. Let's not fight about it until it becomes necessary. The way that the system should work, Peter and Andy and Boss should all be awake and aiming for the same direction. We all should be awake and we should all be heading that direction. Worst comes to worst, I'll grab the person who apparently knows about construction. But we're not there at the moment. All right?
There any blowtorches around here?
Not in this.
No.
Not in the immediate vicinity.
Where would they be? Might be handy to have in case of plant monster.
They would be in the workshop.
All right.
So hopefully we'll be able to get to them the long way. But I think we've stood here staring at the missing spacesuit long enough. Let's continue.
As the group continues, you work your way through an electronics repair shop, for the circuitry, the computers or whatnot. It seems to be in perfectly working order. There's nothing disturbed here, but you make a mental note if you have to fix something that's circuitry related, this is where it would be done. So there's also spare motherboards and memory and whatever pieces you need for a major computer repair would be in this compartment. As you circle around again, and the signs on the wall indicate that engineering is coming up, you see the vines again.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Coming from a door near where the engineering compartment should be. Another room similar to what you saw before.
I've got a theory.
It could be bunnies.
This expansive growth of the vines might be able to account for overthrowing a room or two, maybe corrupting some gear and some systems, but I still can't explain the breach with it, nor can I explain your puncture wound.
It's too far away for it to be the cause of the breach, or in fact, and I like rest my hand on my ribs, which I'm sure are still aching. The puncture wound.
But it might corrupt the navigation systems or other operating units.
Maybe, but it would have to know where to grow to get specifically the navigation systems.
You're acting as if it needs to be intelligent to just grow into something.
There was only one system.
The doctor is right.
There was only one system that was corrupted. If something was growing unimpeded and without knowledge, it would take out all of the systems. It would take out the life support. It would take out absolutely every system, and it only took out navigation.
It depends on where it's growing, right?
You built the system.
They're all kind of close to each other.
This engineering architecture from a schematic point of view is extremely flawed. One system bringing down the entire place is potentially possible. One corrupted system.
So the cast you've been told it's not possible in your training.
One more time.
Your training told you that's not possible.
Okay.
It shouldn't be possible. There are 1,000 redundancies on top of 1,000 redundancies because this whole system is supposed to be able to run itself. We weren't supposed to be awake. We were only here as a fail-safe. And the fail-safe happened.
That means
I guess that makes us extra redundancies.
You're the extra redundancies, but I appreciate you being here because apparently the extra redundancies failed. You are the backup to the backup, but I really appreciate you being here.
Well, it doesn't seem like we really have much choice now, do we?
I mean, you could have stayed in and around your coffin and let me go and deal with it by myself, but you didn't, and I appreciate it.
What kind of person sits and waits for death?
She just called the tomb the coffin. They just called the tomb the coffin.
I mean,
I did cross my heart.
They're kind of interchangeable.
Yeah, I guess.
You could have stayed in the perfectly safe area where there wasn't any major problems besides being cold.
That was not a safe area. You were bleeding out.
I was bleeding because of something that happened. I don't know. I'm not going to argue this because I don't know what's going on.
Well, our path forward is what we need to focus on.
I agree
with the doc.
All right. Is there a way to get into the workshop that isn't overgrown with vines?
Let me see. Give me an intelligence roll.
Intelligence. Cool. Oh, 3. Critical.
Wow.
Cass's world is...
I love the birds of paradise.
So Cass's world is a life support, and she knows all the ventilation and other centered systems, and they are contained within some of the walls and ceilings that you're not even walking in. And some of those, of course, Cass is used to traveling through. So you believe you probably could travel through those.
All right, I'm going to look for a ventilation opening that isn't one of the doors that's overgrown.
In this room, there's 2. They're easily accessible by Cass.
All right, I'm going to go and like pop it open and look. Doctor, do you have that flashlight that you blinded me with earlier?
Yes. 1 second, I open my kit and find it, give it to her.
And I'm going to shine it.
Sorry.
It's fine. I'm going to like shine it through the vent to see if there's any plants growing in there.
As she shines it down towards the direction of where the plant mass is, Cass, you pick up little dust motes or pollen motes or whatnot within that air shaft, but you don't see any plant life growing. The construction of the shafts is such that it's a straight line and then a bend and a straight line and a bend. It doesn't actually, it's not a flat, it's not a circle. It's a lot of straight, you know what I mean? It's like straight in the little corners.
Yeah.
So about maybe 15, 20 meters before it turns and circles the compartment.
Okay, assuming that we're working with an overabundance of caution and we don't want to deal with the plants that seem to be in our way to the maintenance room. That's not the word I'm looking for, but whatever. The workshop. Assuming we're dealing with an overabundance of caution, I think I can get through the vents to get in there and get what I need and get back out. I think. That's going to depend entirely upon whether the workshop is carpeted in ivy, which could be very interesting.
You're doing this alone, are you?
I'm the only one small enough to get through those shafts. Which isn't quite true from a size perspective, technically, but they are 4'11" and like 3/4.
Well, then you may need this. And I hold up the laser scalpel in case something's in your way.
And I'll take it from him.
Do you know how to use this?
It's basically a knife.
Yeah, and I kind of explain, how the operation works.
Okay.
You stab.
And once he's explained it, I'll slip it into my breast pocket and like close the pocket over it.
Yeah, Cass has a Velcro club cover for that pocket, easy in and out.
Yeah.
So they can work in 0G and the tools aren't going to fly everywhere. So Cass, you go down that air shaft. Is that right?
Is there any chance that I could borrow that flashlight?
You have it. I've given it to you.
Yes, but can I take it with me?
Yes.
It is yours. I'm not just going to walk away with it.
Only if you bring it back.
Well, I will do my damnedest. How's that?
I trust.
And so I'll start crawling through the vent, like holding the flashlight between my teeth so I can crawl with both hands.
Cass worms her way, enclosed on all four sides by this very small confines of the ventilation shaft, something that most people would never wish to do. Anyone with any mild claustrophobia would not sign up for this trip. Thankfully, Cass has been working in this sort of environment, trained in this, and is able to do so without rolling sanity. So they move forward slowly, inching, elbowing their way down the path. And as it turns and bends, Cass shines the light with her mouth down. There's more of the dust motes and pollen and other things floating in the ventilation shaft, which is troubling, but Cass understands why it's there. Cass does not see any kind of plant life or anything else. Cass continues, moving through the room next to the engineering shaft. And then through the next connection, Cass peers over the edge, sees the vent that would lead to the engineering shaft. And there, the vent cover has little growths popping up through the vent into the shaft, small little plant growths, little vines and tendrils, and a couple of leaves coming from the room that Cass understands should be the engineering room. Cass, do you approach that vent cover?
I will approach it. So I'm actually going to take the flashlight out of my mouth at this point and like move forward slowly on my elbows with the light shifting around as I move, and like lay on my side next to the ventilation, the shaft that leads into the workshop, just to get a really good look at what's going on.
Cass, as you get closer, it almost seems like maybe there's an air current or something. That's what it looks like, but the vines come up and the leaves come up and they kind of shake and quiver slightly into the ventilation shaft as you approach. They don't move rapidly. It's a gentle swaying motion that you see from the tips of the vines and the leaves that have made their way up into this air shaft. You stop just short of those vines. Do you get closer?
No, I'm going to like pause right there and just like look to see where they all connect to. Do they all connect back into the shaft that I want to go through?
They're coming from inside the engineering room itself.
Where in the fuck did you come from?
Do we hear her jostling anywhere, or is
the group did hear Cass go through the ceiling, but once Cass made it to the next room over, you can hear a little bit of an echo through the open vent. And if Cass speaks, you can hear Cass's voice echoing into your room.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say like very softly, what in the fuck are you? What is going on?
I'm an anthropologist.
What?
That's her in the vent. That's Cass in the vent.
Yeah, and she's asking what a kind of creature is. what it even is. I think in space, that's making me clench a little. I'm just gonna be honest.
They can hear us, is what I'm saying. Cass.
Yes.
Do I hear them talking?
Yes, you hear a brief, faint echo of their voice. You hear, Cass, you heard your name.
Yes. I'm gonna turn like project back down the shaft.
While I've never been to space, I have been on a few scuba expeditions. He's talking slowly, anticipating the echo. And it's best that you dictate what you see to us in case of an impromptu signal loss, in whatever form that takes, not trying to be grim, but please dictate what you see.
Do I catch all of that?
You do.
Okay. Replying very slowly because I can hear how he's spacing his words out to allow for the echo. I'm going to reply, there are plants that are growing out through this shaft and they're moving as if they're being blown by a light wind. Not like the air currents that you would see necessarily with a life support system, but like a breeze back on Earth.
He looks to the doctor and to Ralph.
Ralphio!
You know, as John Ralphio Macchio, I am very uncomfortable by what she just described. What they just described. I think we gotta get them out of there now, or we gotta send someone with them now.
I don't think that any of us can fit. Do you think you can, John Ralphio Macchio?
Well, you know, as he pats his stomach, I guess I don't think I'm the perfect fit for that small little vent right there. But if I could, I would definitely. If I could, do I? Can I? Wait, I feel like I can't, but can I?
Give me a tight fit.
Feels tight. Toy.
Let's hold off in case they need to make an expedited exit, and they don't have you blocking their path to return. But I agree with the sentiment. I'm very uneasy about having them in there.
What happens if they open the vent just to see what happens?
You should ask.
Can you open the vent?
I think I should be able to. Do you want me to try?
I think we must.
Chess is emoting.
All right, I'm going to shine the light like around the vent cover to see if like the vines are grabbing onto the vent cover.
What you observe is the vines are reaching through it, but not really grabbing it. They do seem to follow the light slightly as the light moves across them. They respond.
Doctor?
Yes?
Do you know biology very well?
I know a bit, particularly human anatomy, but hit me.
I've got this covered. What do you need?
Do plants usually visibly move when light moves with it? Like someone's eyes following a light?
Yes. Plants do tend to move towards the sunlight, but at a pace that would be hard to track with the human eye. Very, very slowly.
I'm
Correct.
watching it move with the light. Like, you remember, Doctor, when you shone the light in my eyes and had me move my eyes back and forth?
Yes.
Like that.
Chess looks at the doctor.
I'm out of my element here as well.
This thing is responsive in real time and apparently very dexterous.
Well, I know a little something about dexterity, and I'm going to reach out and very carefully begin like to pull the vent cover up so I can shine the light through, and saying very quietly, maybe even quietly enough that they can't hear me, I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to figure out what's going on.
Cass?
And over the background, you hear me shout, "What was that noise?" As the vent popping off probably wasn't very quiet.
Yes. Give me a dexterity roll.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you know what I put my 80 into? Dex. Neat.
Looks like
That's a 45. Not quite a hard success, but close.
And now give me a luck roll.
Why you torture me like this? 25 out of 70.
Both successes. So Cass is able to very nimbly grab the vent, raise it up without any kind of trouble. And then they respond, slowly rising a little bit as the vent goes up, and then settle down. They don't touch Cass, but they do seem to have a reaction as the vent moves up. It's a slow reaction as they go up and settle back down to where they were and continue sort of the slow undulation back and forth. The vent's now open. Cass, looking down at the room, this room is covered in plants worse than the previous one, and they seem to be stemming from one particular corner of the room. There's a mass, some origin in that corner, but you can't make it out from where you're viewing.
Okay, so I imagine I hear them like panicking behind me, having heard the vent screech. I'm all right. I'm all right.
Cass, they move slightly at the sound of your voice. Not in a hostile way, but there's a reaction, there's a quiver when you speak.
Hello.
It sways a little bit in response to the sound.
And through the vent you hear, "Hi."
Not you.
We're here. Oh.
What?
What the hell?
They're responding to the light, and they're responding to my voice. And I'm not looking back down the shaft. I'm looking at the plants along that shaft to see how they're responding to me.
Yeah, the ones that have reached up inside the ventilation shaft, or just the mouth of it, kind of quiver a bit when you speak or when the light moves, but they're not doing anything different.
Can you test if they will follow the light? For instance, put the light on the opposite side of where you're at and see if they move towards it.
Sure. And I will shift the light up to that far corner to test exactly that.
So as Cass raises the light up and over the shaft, they seem to reach up slightly towards the source of the light. And as you move, they seem to be moving or turning towards the light.
Yes. Yes, they're following the light.
Now, as you speak, do they come back to your voice or do they stay towards the light?
There seem to be
I'm still holding it up like this while I'm speaking.
The light seems to hold their attention.
They seem to be more fixated on the light than on my voice.
We can use that, at least.
Probably.
Chess is vigorously jotting down in his book.
Yeah, and Cat. So I'm trying to picture it in my head. Is this like an opening that leads directly into the workshop, or is there like a passage between me and the workshop?
This goes directly into the workshop. If Cass wishes to, she could jump into the workshop from here, but she would land on lots of plants.
Yeah, no, that's kind of a problem. I would really prefer to use 0G in this situation, but I'm not sure that's an option. How close is the nearest like ceiling light to me?
Cass can reach it. If Cass reaches their hand in, you could grab it, and that's not too far away.
Okay. I'm going to lean back out and say, all right, I can reach one of the overhead lights from here. I might be able to draw them to look off in that direction so I can get in and get what I need. But it might be a little bit of a trick getting back out.
And what happens if we just open this door in front of us and lead them towards us instead of you?
Well, they would probably, so based on the limited experiment you just had me run, they will come toward the light that's in that room and maybe not necessarily towards you. Maybe. That said, this might be the same, I don't know, root that you just cut the leaf from, and they might remember that. They say plants remember, that sort of thing.
Just like elephants, of course.
Engineering is illuminated. You see, the room itself below you is illuminated.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have to find a way to turn those lights out, keep these lights on. How do we do that, Cass?
All right. John, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right.
I think.
Your construction. Can you go to the panel? There's a way to turn off very, very particular lights. and you may have to have Chess help you with this, but there's a way to turn off very particular lights in very particular areas. If you can turn off the light that's in there, God, I hate the idea of going into a dark room, but all right.
Is it you that's doing it or me? Because I swear, if we survive, I'll do it.
Well, here's my thought. You turn off the lights that are inside of the workshop itself, so that when you open that door and there's light, they will peel more in that direction toward the light where you are, and maybe not pay as much attention to me.
I mean, the version now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Not you,
all
the
of us.
light. The light itself. It's paying more attention to the light than it is to me.
But if I'm in the way of it,
I walk over to the panel while he's doing this. I
I
take
will-
a look
okay.
at it.
I'm having a dramatic moment, Doc. All right, fine.
The way this is going to work is the room directly adjacent to the engineering bay is where that panel is. That room does have several vines splayed out across the floor. You'll have to avoid those vines to get to the panel. But if you do, and you're successful, you get to control the lights and engineering.
Go over there. I take a look back at John Ralphio Macchio.
So
All right, so
happy.
For Dr. Torrance, to navigate the room, to make sure you step on no vines, give me a dexterity check.
I look back and I say, all right, here we go. You're next up if I fail. And these things for some reason eat me.
You're not gonna fail, Doc.
IV aren't carnivorous.
Ivy
And
also
they don't
doesn't
move.
like this.
I'm
We
sorry.
say
I'm
that
trying
in
to
almost
make
like
it-
perfect unison, one from the shaft and one from inside the room.
One from the shaft.
Hey.
That's a 12.
Excellent.
Oh, yes.
So the doctor nimbly maneuvers around the plants. They seem to stir and move a little as he gets close, but nothing touches him. He makes it to the panel, pries it open rather easily. But does the doctor wait for John, or does he want to try to do it himself?
I'm going to be here. I look back at John and say, should I do this? You want to join me?
It only makes sense we do this together. And I reaches a hand out.
Aww.
And
I'm
yeah,
pretty far away from him at this point.
it's not a close hand reach.
All right, roll dex, John.
D100?
Yeah.
Yep.
19? 19?
Nice.
I changed.
19.
He avoids touching any of the vines as he tiptoes and tap dances his way across the floor, making it next to the doctor. John, what is your electrical repair?
Electrical repair.
God damn, do I need to get down there?
Well, there was nothing to that one specifically. It was engineering, so that one's just 10% base.
I'm gonna have you roll engineering. I'm gonna need a hard success.
Sweet. Wait, no, pick that up. 66.
All right, what's your engineering?
Engineering is 70.
Oh,
Half of that would be 35.
Yeah.
Let's re-roll. Let's inspire.
Let's re-roll that.
You roll it.
I missed something then.
I'm just
So
going off the majority.
Yes,
so
all-
he rolled a success, but it wasn't a hard enough success to make what he needed.
Okay.
Because he doesn't have the exact right skill. He's using his engineering skill in general. He needs to get a better than usual success, which would be a success to pull this off.
Okay. That makes sense.
The person with electrical engineering isn't down there, which really frustrates me.
What do you get, John?
Oh wait, that's better. I read it upside down. 96.
Oh, that's bad.
Just Emma.
And what happens when John pulls the circuits is that the lights in the room that the doctor and John are in all go out, and the lights in the engineering also go out.
Can I say
Plus
right
his
before
lights are
that?
still
I would.
on. But the room that Cass is in and the room that John and the doctor are in, the lights blink out. Too many lights have gone out.
I think
So-
you did it wrong.
Chester, you can see from your room, there's some movement. And you see the silhouettes of the doctor and Mr. Macchio standing there. There's some motion between them. Something is moving between them.
I've called that out. Something's moving.
Congratulations, John. You've killed us.
Okay, first of all, it could be just a human, and we could easily kill that human. Second of all, everybody prepare.
So John, roll luck, and Dr. Stanley Torrance also roll luck.
Oh.
23.
Yeah,
Luck
John?
is 80.
So you guys both get successes?
What'd you roll, John?
John, what'd you roll?
Wait, no, that's good. 0, 0 on one dice, and then 7 on the other. So
7.
On
Yeah,
7.
seven.
Nice.
You rolled
Up to
700. Good job.
So
I
Dr. Stanley Torrance, you feel vines or plant growth moving past your leg. You feel it rubbing up against the suit. But what you don't feel is it doesn't seem to grapple. It moves past, it moves over, almost like a snake crossing over you. And then Chester, in a few moments, the vines have sort of crawled slightly towards you into your room to where the light is. Towards the light in your room, Chester.
What's going on?
The vines are coming towards me in this room outside of the vent because of the darkness in there.
You shut off both sets of lights?
Accidentally.
And probably permanently.
Oh no.
All it needs is a good kick.
I'll have a look at it when I come down, assuming I survive this.
Now,
I'm gonna like shine my light carefully down into the workshop to see if I can see what's going on with the vines.
But Cass, when you shine your light down, the first thing you see is the vines seem to be moving or stretching away. And then as the light touches them, they stop and start turning and moving up towards your passageway.
And I'm gonna turn the light off. I'm going to have to do this blind. Shit. And I'm gonna like try to pull up in my memory where everything that I need is in this workshop. So I can try to find it in the dark.
There's probably a lot of objects. How many items do you think Cass might need? I mean, she might be able to find a single toolkit. That'd be great, one item. But if there's a lot of different things to collect,
I think so. A hull breach from a meteor strike is something that Mission Control would anticipate and potentially build a single toolkit for, something that you could grab as like a bug out bag. That being the case, I would be looking for that particular bug out bag.
It's basically a tool and the patching material.
Yeah.
Also,
so there two things?
Are there any emergency lights like the low red ones that pop up, or is it all pitch black?
There are those available. Those are currently off. But maybe someone can figure out how to turn those on.
I'm okay with those being off. But I'm trying to remember where that toolkit and the patching material are, and just trying to pull those up in my memory from the schematics.
So there's a particular tool that's a riveting sealing device, and also the patch material. Those are next to each other in one bin.
Okay.
Those you can get with one bin. Anything your toolkit would be a different bin if you want to get an individualized universal toolkit.
Okay, so I'm going to call back to them. Okay, I'm going to try this and like slide my feet out into the thing and start to like lower myself down enough so I can drop without hurting myself.
Roll luck, Cass.
While she's rolling that, while the vines come into Chester's room, I assume it's like the tip of a vine, as he slowly, just the tip. As he slowly backs away from it, he kind of stops and he kneels down a little bit for closer examination. What a peculiar little animal you are, and almost like pets it. Attempts to pet it like a snake as it travels.
So before we do that,
okay.
Cass, as you move down, what's your
51 out of 70?
Cass, you feel vines and leaves and other plant life brush against the outside of your suit. But successful luck, they don't grapple, they don't grab. You just seem to lower yourself down into the room. Do you want to go to the floor or try to land on one of the tables?
I'm going to aim for, I'm going to like try to swing myself onto one of the tables. I imagine I'm not getting much light from the doorway. Question mark?
You're starting to adapt, but it's
Okay.
dark. Your night vision's starting to come in. It'll take a few more rounds.
Yeah, and honestly, like I have my eyes closed, so it's like I had them open enough to see where the table was, and then just like swing myself out using my memory and the layout of the space.
Yeah. All right. So as Cass swings down there, we'll cut back to Chester, who kneels down one of the small vines, a little bit of ivy. It almost slithers a little bit, and Chester reaches out. It moves. He kind of brushes up against it. It harmlessly moves next to him and then rises up slowly towards the source of light in the room. It doesn't seem to be attacking Chester at the moment, or even grabbing him, or even seem to be that much aware of him. It feels like plants on Earth, ivy and vines on Earth. Cass lands on one of the tables that she meant to, and lands immediately on a mass of green and vines and plants and leaves and plant material, all sort of mixed together. Not a particular plant, but a weird combination, but you can barely see. You feel. It doesn't feel right. It squirms a little beneath Cass's feet, which makes her pause as she steps on it. But before Cass can move towards that bin, give me a spot hidden roll.
Yeah, I would have opened my eyes once I landed and made sure that I was going. 10 out of 45. It's a not quite a critical, but a hard success.
The mass of plants and vines and other materials coming from one source on the table that Cass landed on.
Oh no.
Coming from something that Cass just catches from the corner of her eyes, or night vision starts to pick up. Cass is being extremely careful, but she can see it. As she looks at it, she knows it's a human arm. It's a human arm. Cass, roll sanity for me.
Fuck. 28 out of 50.
Cass, lose 2 points of sanity.
Yeah.
Your mind tries not to remember. It doesn't want to remember this.
Yeah,
So
but I let out like this high-pitched whimper sound.
I'll put it this way. If you had failed, you would remember more.
Fair.
But because you've succeeded in your sanity roll, you keep the demons at bay. And you know that arm. You can see mom from your crew. And she's struggling with someone. You're screaming, no, stop it. And the bolt gun goes right through her arm. It severs her arm almost immediately. There's a scream. The blood drops float in the 0G as the arm separates from her. And you see the hand and the arm writhing and moving in midair as it floats away. You can hear mother is screaming in terror. Someone else in the crew is terrified as well. It's like it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. But then the arm itself begins to have small growths, and the skin moves and ripples on it. And the hand grabs the side of the ship. The disembodied arm in your mind grabs, and it starts scurrying its way away from mother and the rest of the crew. And that's where your memory stops.
And I think that's the arm that I'm seeing now.
This is the same arm. And
Huh?
for purposes, it's 10:30 in the evening. I think this will be an excellent point for us to break. So I don't know if Thomas is still available, but I want to wrap things up at this moment. I think it's a great stopping point. And assuming Thomas is cool with it, we'll finish the story next week, God willing.
My cliffhanger.
Oh God, the cliffhangers upon cliffhangers. My goodness.
Dude. That's a good thing. Me clutching my heart.
All right, so thank you everybody for staying with us, for joining us on this evening. I hope we had a fun time with this little space group. Please come join us again next week. We have more crazy stuff happening with Call of Cthulhu on Saturday, which Ezra is running from Master Plan with Thotep, which is an amazing campaign that a couple of us have been suffering through. On Monday, Aaron's doing the Rick and Morty D&D, and then on Tuesday, probably we'll be finishing the story. God help us. It's been working and gives you back the regular scheduled Chaos Agent shenanigans. So thank you everybody for joining us this evening. It's been my pleasure. I love doing this.
Yeah, thank you,
Tom, for
Thomas.
doing
So
that.
much,
You
Tom.
kidding?
This has been just phenomenal so far.
Yeah,
I'm
I
having a
haven't
great
talked
time.
very much because I've just been like living in my mind, imagining it. Yeah, this has been great.
I really enjoyed playing with you guys and doing this. You guys are great cast, and we're having a lot of fun. I love when things don't go where I think they'll go.
It's not going the way it's. I feel like we're following the.
I mean, with the Chaos Agents, dude, it will always go the way you don't think it will.
I had a hiccup or two. Yeah.
I feel like if there was like a tent pole that we should follow, I feel like we're following it, but maybe not. I don't know where the story's going. But like, yeah, okay. Shit.
All right, so I don't know with our control booth if it's silent or not. So we can go ahead and kick it, or maybe someone will let us know from Houston. We're done.
Yep.
Hey, there he is.
We're ending.
All right. So thank you everybody for sticking with us. Hope you had a great time. My name is Thomas as well, and I will see you next week, and these guys will see you as well. So good night, everybody.
My guys.